for February. Basically both to the upside versus expectations here. 258, 263 expected there. 331 billion for imports in February. 326 billion expected on the imports data. Initial jobless claims 221 versus 214. 1.79 million versus 1.82 expected there for continuing claims. Again, coming up later this morning, we'll get a long line of Fed speakers to come, the big one tomorrow. Non-farm payrolls for February, always exciting. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I think it'll be really exciting, especially with 6 Fed speakers on watch to see what the market does today.
Yeah, it's, I mean, coming off a nice day yesterday for tech, as I was mentioning specifically, a few more positive headlines this morning in that world.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Meta price target increase from Jefferies. Really nice looks and positive analyst notes there with regards to ad revenue. We also had Apple later in the afternoon yesterday with that potential home robotic project as reported by Bloomberg. So, yeah, tech is very much on watch heading into Thursday's session, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was kind of out of nowhere. Apple Roomba coming to a store near you, possibly. Apologies, guys, for if anyone missed the opening there. We'll recap real quick. We got some import-export data. Initial jobless claims comes through to the upside this morning. Continuing claims downside so far. That's about it as far as economic data today. But remember, Fed speak to look out for later in the day tomorrow, or this afternoon, guys.
Yeah, the lineup of Fed speakers continues in the afternoon. But you know what? Like the action wasn't even. We were talking about like Fed this, Fed that. Jerome was at 12.10 yesterday.
Yep.
But then really, what was the action? You had the move in Boeing because of their production numbers were down, so it was news in the middle of the day. No one was looking at Boeing until the afternoon hit. You had, Paramount had some news as well if you're interested in that, and then the Apple Roomba news. I don't like. Why does it?
That seems a bit.
Why does an Apple robot have to have anything to do with the Roomba? Like we're talking about a robot that's going to do I'm assuming going to do everything for you, right? Like, I would imagine it's like you're going to have something that, like, I know Brendan said in the podcast, fold your laundry and whatnot.
Right.
It's just, it's like an everything bot, I suppose, for the household.
I don't think we know anything about it yet.
Well, I'm presuming.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to presume what Apple's going to do, I'm going to think it's more than a vacuum.
Oh yeah, it's going to do a lot of things.
Roomba.
It'll be able to do walk your dog and teach you.
Those types
sports and do all the things that the absentee parents can't do, of course, and solve the whole world with robots.
And buy some Palantir this morning.
Or going up. Yeah, well, look, Palantir is what it is. We just tweeted that out as well. I mean, this name continues to go higher here with a partnership with Oracle. So this actually didn't make our watch list because it's relatively new news. They're coming out about 8 o'clock. And we use the Benzinga Pro platform here to look it up. And I found out here, let me just search it. It's down there because there's been more stories since we've come through. So we search up Palantir here, and then we get here, and it says Oracle and Palantir join forces to deliver mission-critical AI solutions to governments and businesses. So here it is right here. It's a nice little deal with Palantir and Oracle. So there you go. I mean, another big, huge monster tech name partnering up with little itty-bitty Palantir, which we've only been talking about now for probably about 3 years. So there goes Palantir straight up to the upside. And yeah, it's on the sticky note. Like I said, it just missed our watch list, but that's the story right there. So up 4.5%. I still think it goes higher, but hey, the market loves that number. That release there on the jobless claims, because again, bad news seems to be more leaning towards a rate cut.
It is.
Just seeing Coinbase moving around here as well, back to the upside. I mean, as you said, guys, the market is as well. Securing a restricted dealer license in Canada, pushing expansion abroad amid SEC crackdown. So get ready for Coinbase Canada coming soon to a crypto, account near you if you want.
You can have Coinbase accounts now in Canada, but obviously some sort of, I think, look, the closer you get to regulation, the better, right? So more licenses, better for Coinbase. That makes sense. Get the government behind you. Sure. Get everything official. Coinbase back up to 260. I mean, this name probably doesn't stop, honestly.
It's another higher low on the day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Probably doesn't stop. Probably goes back to 290, honestly. I don't know.
Like at this point, too, like you got to figure, you're getting a really decent consolidation in Bitcoin. Like every time it drops, it's like drop, hold 60, drop, hold 65, you know, that kind of a thing. So you're getting Bitcoin stabilizing itself. And this would be day 2. Is it punching through 260? I didn't sit down thinking Coinbase was going to be like one of those punch-in stocks. Like I really thought like the trade would have been off like the 250 level today. So you're going to watch some crypto, but I feel as if like the litany of things that have direct catalysts that we normally trade, like we're talking Palantir, I mean Apple, Boeing are both going to be in play for me. Intel continuation from yesterday. You start to then you have a triple top at 905 on Nvidia. That's going to be in play. You have Meta breaking out as well. There is a lot to look at for a day where the only earnings was Levi's and BlackBerry did absolutely nothing. You know, there is a lot of individual names to come through and sort of sift through today. So I probably won't trade Coinbase, but yeah, it does look like a pretty good trend is starting back into that 290, as Sean said. I just don't know if it'll make the list for me today.
All right, as you guys mentioned, one main earnings name today, here it is, 21 just getting taken out once again for Levi Strauss. Nice forecast. I mean, earnings topped expectations across the board for Levi's. A number of positive analyst moves here to start the day as well. So another one to the upside so far.
Yeah, it's a really nice look here for Levi's. We did have this increase in guidance being kind of the main thing here that I'm seeing causing this positive reaction. We had an increase from a range of 115 to 125 per share, up to 117 to 127 earnings per share for the year 2024. So nice look there. They also did beat pretty nicely here on EPS and on sales for the quarter. Decrease of inventories by 14% on a dollar basis. So yeah, nice look across the board here for LEV heading into the session.
Market continuing to move to the upside here. If you missed it, the actual weekly number on the initial jobless claims to the upside, continuing claims actually downside. So a bit of a contrast there, but the overall market not seeming to care at this point. Pretty positive now.
Rushing to 18.5 on the NASDAQ. Like that's been, it's like the first little bitty wall at 18.5 and then you get to like 18.6 too. And that's probably a little bit bigger. So it looks like we could challenge that today. You had an update yesterday that pulled back late, and it was a pretty decent pullback. I don't want to say hefty because it didn't go red, but it was a decent pullback after an update, and you're getting a little continuation. So bad news equals good. So the issue with Levi's, 12% short float, that's good. Up 12%. You know, it's you gotta worry about like it's more about like the forward numbers were actually in the positive end of the range. I think that's what you got to lean into. I mean, ultimately, if you actually were to look at like the quarter and read more into it, like it was a gap loss. So the adjusted earnings was up and a beat there, but it was actually a gap loss and worse than the previous year. It was the same thing with revenue. That said, it's that forward look that's fantastic, and the momentum is what it is for the retail names. Retail names that have popped in this earnings season have been not the best bets to go short. So when something's breaking out like this, and if you look at it on the daily chart, it was already just in a nice slow churn, but you zoom it out, and this looks to me like you essentially have reversed a trend, probably around that 17, 18 is like that last break like was right in here. You'd already maybe reversed the trend at 16. And suddenly you're getting into these levels from 2022 where you just like, it's like step by step. So break this, head here, hopefully hold that $20 level, and then maybe you can see, you know, next up like 20 and 21 and a half on the daily. So I'm looking for a stink bid situation at the open on Levi's. Like it has to be perfect here. It's so light volume that you just want to let this one settle down. I said but didn't do this on the Spotify upgrade yesterday, and that ended up being a mistake. Like, should have just thrown a stink bid in there because it actually ended up tagging that 280 level at the open. And I looked back and I was like, oh, you could have just put a bid in there, and the 280 ended up hitting for you. So I feel the same way about Levi's, or Levi.
Yeah, we've been talking about Levi for a minute there on the, we talked about it a little bit on the podcast there. We talked about it throughout the last couple of weeks because it was really just the biggest name to come for earnings. And we had that last night and we were talking about it. And the funny thing about it was we tried to look at PVH and say, hey, you know what? Like I tried to channel check, it backfired if you remember when we did that. Because I was like, no one's wearing Hilfiger. Then I found out that I was wearing it and Ramin, we were all wearing it that day. And then it went down here all the way in. So they failed, and that gave Levi shareholders potentially a pause for concern. But not everything is equal. So yesterday, Levi, and even during the middle of the show, I remember asking Adara, and she put it in the chat, we told you, and it was on sympathy with PVH. So Levi was down 7 or 8%, and then battled that back, and then now today, you're getting a huge move higher there. So, I mean, just play the winner, still breaking out, and the problem with this stock, it's not a problem, but you still have a lot higher to go for Levi. So if you actually, let me just call this up on another platform here because it'll load the week a little bit faster for us. If you look at a weekly chart, it's kind of just breaking out now. So this looks kind of, we had Kunal on and we talked about the IWM and we talked about Wayfair and things like that. This name is something that looks pretty similar to all of those, where you do have a much higher high here. And if you like the name, you like apparel, I mean, boom, this could really, really get going. And if I thought it was about a 12% short float, give me 1 second.
1226.
Oh, you already got it? Yeah, so did you already mention it? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, 1226, a good one right there. So there it is.
The best number there is.
1226. What is it? Oh, I started watching. I don't know what that. Oh,
No?
oh, I know what it is. Yeah. Boxing Day.
Boxing Day. That's all.
I did watch Three Body Count, the first episode.
Pop problem.
So, or no.
They're probably worth. They do drop a few bodies in the first.
No. What's the
It's three body problem.
Three Body Problem. That's what it is.
They should have called it 3 body count. How many people die in the first episode?
Oh, man, I'm thinking like
that might work.
I've got this market on the floor here, but it's not.
I actually think
it was pretty good. But the thing is, I can't watch it. I stayed awake for the whole thing, but there's a lot involved with it. You have to be like boomed into it. So I'm excited for it. The first episode was pretty good there, as the numbers begin to count down.
But that should be, first of all, 3 body count just sounds like a really good 80s action flick that I want to watch. That's all I know.
It's going to be once I release my book. That might be the title.
3 body count.
Yeah.
Well, who are the bodies?
You're going to see the bodies very soon. Pretty soon, maybe today. Looks like Google's getting bodied here, so we're going to find.
Oh no!
I know we have that on topic, but like I was just noticing the market's going up right now.
That's not good.
And I'm about to release a sticky note that has Google for some longs. But Google did not react nicely. It's down now another little piece here. And we had this on the show as well. Brendan messaged to me because right away at 4 o'clock, we had that release of new AI sort of strategy plan there. And we'll get into that in a couple minutes. But I just wanted to say that right now you're getting a little bit of a body count here on Google because it's down on the mat right here, but not for very long, I have a feeling. So let's wait to see what happens with Google AI coming to a Pixel phone near you.
And potentially robots across the board, it sounds like. I don't know. We'll see. For both Apple and potentially Google here as well. Yeah, market at highs right now and taking out the highs on decent volume. So we'll keep an eye on some of these tech names for sure. I wanted to mention Wayfair real quick. This is actually Dollarama, trades here in Toronto. So they came out with an annual sales forecast that was much higher than expected. So Wayfair catching a bit of a bid off of that. There's also a positive note this morning on Wayfair from Evercore. They raised their price target to 80 from 65, so $15 north of where we are today. I mean, the story with Wayfair, as it always is, the short side of things.
Yeah, that's certainly something to keep in mind here, but pretty positive analyst note, though, for sure. They do say, the Evercore ISI says that as they're expecting this home furnishing market to recover cyclically, they expect Wayfair to especially benefit from that with regards to revenue acceleration and growth. So nice look here. They also had a price target increase from Loop Capital on Tuesday.
Yeah, I've always said I've had great experiences with Wayfair. It's specifically going into warmer weather and spring and summer. I think a lot of people order patio furniture from Wayfair.
That makes sense, yeah. Or like stuff for the porch, like outside, yeah.
Super simple. I still see about 18% on the short side for Wayfair, guys.
It's still decent. And you know what? Like, it's got I kept saying I would change my 200 period moving average back to purple. I noticed that it's still red, and like I don't know why that bothers me, but it does. But it's been holding the 200 period moving average, so you have higher lows into now a hold of the 200 and a potential, there you go, double top break through $70. So yeah, it looks pretty interesting, but more interesting if it breaks 70. Oh, I see. Sean and I were just talking about Wayfair. Yeah, there's this wick up to 71. Looks like at the open, it did like a dipsy do. But so yeah, 70. I mean, 70 looks like the big break, but the last time it broke it, as you can see, it was a heck of a reversal. I'd be more excited. That's the kind of level that you throw an order or you throw an alert for. Hey, if Wayfair gets to 69 bucks, alert me, and if the 70 break happens, then you're kind of ready for when the stock breaks out. And there was a question when I said something about a stink bid on Levi's. So it's a term that we use, and actually I don't even remember when we started using it. It's fairly recent. It was in the last few years because I didn't say that 5-10 years ago. Essentially, just imagine, and because I have Wayfair up, let's imagine I think that this high, previous high on Wayfair is like a fantastic area to buy the stock at 64. It's sitting at 65 and doing nothing. A stink bid would be just like, I'm going to bid 64.10 at the open. And if there's some kind of seller that just comes in and it goes dip and rip, something resembling this yesterday, then you're just sort of sitting there and you don't miss the wick down. Like you're standing in front of a level. And you've probably seen us do that before. Like, I don't know, like if Tesla was at like a 150 or something, or 155. Like you might just already have a bid sitting there ready to go at 150 and change, because if it gets down there, you don't want to miss the trade. So stink bid just means a bid far away from the current bid ask that I want to get filled. I don't want to miss the trade when it's down there, but the likelihood of it getting there that day or in any kind of a reasonable time frame is low. That's all.
Like acting as if like this market is like going to slow down. Like you're going to be up 1% here. It was doing nothing, and then 8:30, and boom, like just jobless claims, a little lower than expected, goes just rocketing up. I mean, I have IWM here. I was just more looking at the NASDAQ. IWM also starting to go, and this is just one of those other names. We mentioned having Kunal on talking about Wayfair, so there's some more news on that name. And then IWM having a problem breaking through some of these highs. I feel like there's been a lot of talk about the Russell 2000 and that needs to play catch up, but does it really? I mean, it doesn't have the big boys in it, and you can see what's happening today with the NASDAQ again. The resilience is here in these names, and such as, you know, names like Apple, and we saw Meta basically going nuts again right now. I'm gonna have written down on here 170.50 for Apple, but it's kind of breaking it right now. To the long side, I really like that one, or dip buys into 169, 169.50. That's up another little bit here as well. And then we're gonna get to all these, but just to show you how strong these names are right now. Meta, just again, 516, like hello tops again. You know, so like, I don't know. I just feel like any bad news here. So I really want to look at who's been down. Yeah, I was kind of like segueing into that. I was going to say, so I'm really interested to see who's on the downgrade list today, because any downgrades I feel like are going to be temporary, especially if they're in the tech sector. So hopefully I'm not disappointed, and there's at least one tech name on your right side there, Adara.
A lot of tech here, but quite a few apps and online related names for sure on this list. We've had lots of interesting analyst moves today, including this upgrade here from Wolf Research for Paramount. Paramount actually still trading to the downside today amidst overall market questions regarding its potential mergers, but Paramount getting an upgrade here from Wolf Research. Grindr getting upgraded here by Raymond James. DoorDash getting an upgrade and a nice $165 price target here from Benchmark. And we did discuss earlier that Wayfair upgrade here from Evercore ISI. Downgrades, we have this pretty big tech name here, Block, getting downgraded by Morgan Stanley. SQ down about 3.5% on this. Bumble getting downgraded by Raymond James. So looks like the same path here with Grindr and Bumble related analyst moves from Raymond James. Post earnings downgrade here for Dave & Buster's from Piper Sandler, and last but not least, Hertz getting a downgrade here from Goldman Sachs, guys.
Yeah, that hurts a little bit.
That's could be a painful one there.
Well, I mean, Square with Block's a tech name.
Yeah,
so
you don't want to get blocked out of that one either, but
there you go.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, the Raptors didn't block anything last night.
Perfect.
Which
You got 85 points in today's NBA. What is that, a half?
Well, so the good thing about it is, I said this to Sean when I sat down, The Raptors did not lose by 50. They only lost by 48. The Blue Jays got one hit this time instead of no hits. So that's absolutely
very,
fantastic.
very, very good for them.
And the Buffalo Bills traded their top wide receiver yesterday. So for sports, it was
Things are looking up
absolutely horrible day.
in this world here.
But block, so if block was at the 50-period moving average, I might be saying, hey, with this market move, let's look for a buy down here at 74. Because on the downgrade, it's exactly the type of level, chart, if we can, like if you get 74 here, you already had support there. You're breaking down, so it feels like you're breaking down under support. Should be looking for a short into 74. And with the market going up, I'd probably be saying, hey, let's stink bid it. Well, I guess I could just stink bid at 74 in front of it in case we got there. But my plan on block before that number came out was flat bottom break at 78. Just look for a short back into the last 2 days support levels, support turning into resistance. So I don't know that I want to get away from that. However, the change I will make is to just not be sitting there on the offer at 9:30 when the market is this strong. So you can, like, there's ways to adjust your plan. You could say, okay, I'm not going to make that short because the market turned. You could say I'm going to short a different level. Maybe I'm going to wait for an 80 or something like that. Or I can just adjust to, okay, well, when it gets to 78, let me assess it at that point and decide whether I want to trade it. Instead of just sitting out there on the offer.
We talked about that square play there, but you know what's a name that's sort of been going? I was just looking at Meta here. I was debating adding that, but it's so high up Meta right now. Could be a fade. This market is wow. I mean, this is a 1 minute chart, still going. PayPal's been really, really nice, honestly, off some of those bottoms. I mean, we did talk about some of these levels down here, and yeah, you know. I don't know if we're going to get back into here. That's not a great move down 3 and a bit for Square. Obviously not affecting PayPal. So I still think that you're above the $62 mark if you ever get a chance to do that. I mean, there's been a lot of you can zoom back out. This stock has a long runway if it wants to get going back up to the upside. And it's just a matter of potentially waiting for their next earnings report. Because if you take out this 68 level, then you have a lot of support down here. And we could then revisit some of this next level. So their earnings report, I feel like it's a little early because we start next week with all the banks. April 30th. Okay, so perfect. So this month. So the end of the month, you're going to have a PayPal report come through. And if you continue with this trajectory, and again, shrugging off, we'll see if we can get back up to the upside here. Really nice month here from 58 up to 68 for PayPal, just trying to find a base. So I kind of like this name down here, 64, 62 bucks for PYPL if you're dollar cost averaging long from like $300 or something, which I probably am. I definitely own this name. I don't. Not up at 300, but somewhere in the middle probably.
Of the two, I own.
I have no idea. I own both of those.
I own Block.
I own them all.
I sold like 90% of it a while. I don't remember. I actually think I probably still have some shares left in it. You know what's? I was gonna say this. Like we've basically just chewed through. Like we're chewing through support or resistance here. Support. That resistance level. So like everything you talk about, like sometimes you have to make the adjustment when you have those numbers. So suddenly you're 100 points away from that next level resistance. I mean, Nvidia is about to break 905, and there's no chance I want to take a breakout at 855 on that stock. So there's some things that I put on the list, like that block, make the adjustment. I'm not taking a breakout trade at before 9 o'clock. On a setup. I was kind of thinking that like 905 would be an opening range trade on Nvidia, and suddenly the market's adjusted, so you've got to be able to adjust with it. Also going to be interesting, I'm going to watch some Dollarama today because...
Yeah, Brendan dropped that news. I want to look at Disney as well, just a few different names.
Yeah, Dollarama's in Toronto.
We do not have Raheem, do we today? No, okay.
Oh yeah, well, Dollarama's in Toronto, but yeah, some good numbers from them, and retail has been
I was gonna mention
solid.
Because Raheem's mentioned some of the dollar stores before, and then a store like Aritzia and things like that. So yeah, the Canadian market still blasting away. Canadian Tire, various things like that. CTC, let me see, CTC.A, isn't it? Yeah, there it is right here. 135. Let me just check this chart out here, because this was another name that Raheem brought to our attention in and around those Christmas years. Oh man, that's Pat. I thought that was Randy there for a second.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so here we go. Yeah, look at Canadian Tire. Huge move down in. Now trying to find a base down here at 136. I want You know what? I'm going to talk to Raheem about some of this retail space here in Canada because that's getting pretty beat up to the downside here as well. So yeah, Canadian Tire. I thought it was doing better.
Well, that's why I was looking at Dollarama is bouncing off $100 right now. It gets a pullback off the 100 level, so some decent numbers, and it broke out from 100 semi-recently. Now you got this like double bottom. So I have like eyeballs on this, and again, it trades in Toronto. Depending on whether you have access to trade in that market. Here at Real Trading, we literally trade pretty much any equity market that does volume, right? So Toronto, it's seamless for us. It's basically the same thing. The only downside to the Toronto market, there's essentially, you can trade in the pre-market, but really nothing happens in the pre-market. So you never really get a sense until the open of what a stock is going to do. So you got to wait till 9:30 to see how these things are going to open up.
I have to buy this stock. Like I think my daughter, I don't know, how much is it for a pair of socks? Like she got these shorts that are like,
depends on
these Aritzia ones. I know, but
yeah.
There's something, and they had the bubble jacket as well. That was super hot. And apparently she went into the change rooms there and it was like, whoa. Oh. You know what I mean, Ramin? Yeah, Ramin's laughing like, my wife's like, you should have seen Gia in these change rooms. She was like, oh my God. I'm like, God damn. And then she showed me the shorts and they're like, it feels like they're literally Walmart shorts, but they're for some reason like $35 or something like that or more. Way more than that.
$35 doesn't sound that bad.
Really? Have you seen what these shorts are?
Yeah, but
they're like little jogging. They're not even, they're like.
I'm just saying.
He's like, I want to wear shorts. And I was like, it's 5 degrees outside. Like,
35 doesn't sound that bad to me.
Really? Okay.
It really
35 was for the socks. My bad.
Dude, trust that
Thanks,
doesn't
Ramin.
that really ain't that bad.
Okay, share size up.
It's just real
right now.
Inflation's no joke. And
no, it depends where you shop. I mean, you're paying ridiculous prices for things. But anyways, okay. All right. Anyways, we need Disney to go back to the upside. So let's see if that can happen. I like 118.
Yeah, no red candles yet for the market. 5,300 just gets taken out on the S&P. Couple things that really aren't benefiting from this yesterday. If you remember, Ulta Beauty fell off a cliff yesterday after slashing their full year sales guidance. So ULTA not really doing a heck of a lot so far this morning. There was that note on Ford. A couple of people, that's the daily chart there, pretty ugly for ULTA. Ford as well. Neil mentioned briefly back to 1390 here. A couple of people still mentioning this. Delaying some EV build out, EV production build out for Ford, and it's up. I mean, the market just hasn't stopped here yet.
Yeah, it's interesting too. The way Ford's putting it is they're retiming the release of these 3 EVs to 2027. They've also, a couple other notes here from Ford, they're saying that there's some positive expansion progress at the Ohio Assembly plant going to be beginning in the mid-decade. So it looks like it's a lot of more delays or retiming of things than actually some positive catalysts here. But they did announce some positive sales yesterday morning, so it could be continued move from that.
I was very upset to walk in this morning and not see Randy at his desk, but Randy, a big fan of Ford. You were mentioning as well that the Oakville plant is going to get a makeover and made into more EV friendly as well. So shout out to Oakville, Ontario. Both guys, Raheem and Michael Noss, tomorrow morning.
that was you get like a routine going, and
What day is it?
today's Thursday. And we have a routine. Like Michael Noss is on Fridays, and if Jeff Mendel comes on, he comes on Tuesday mornings, and Raheem or Luis is on Thursday. So we were going back and forth, like, okay, we're just kind of Raheem's going to come in. We're talking about Toronto stocks because that's what Raheem does. But look, Ford here, and we've been noting this for a couple of days now. Like it's just been pretty. Like it just keeps going higher. Now I've said I want to sell the stock if it gets to 15, but we haven't been trading it, and I feel like yesterday was probably the bigger missed opportunity. You can't really wind the clock because you look at that consolidation breakout, and that would have been the trade. That said, it's the kind of stock that does take the steps to the upside. Like it'll go up and break, and there's your higher low, and the next day it holds a higher low. That's kind of nasty at the open, but for the most part, it ends up holding this like 13, 15 area, and then it does a similar thing here. So I don't wonder, the double top yesterday at about 1370. If there's a dip, that's the kind of trade you would look for on Ford, where it dips into say 70, you get like 71, 70s, you can maybe give it to the 60s, like risk like 10 cents on Ford, and then see if it can't go to 14. So that kind of a stair-step pattern tends to be a better way to play Ford. Because the thing about Ford is, unless it's a clean break level, just sort of buying tops and looking for it to trend when most of the time it's just going to move 25 cents is kind of pointless. But it's a great looking move for Ford, and it probably has a shot at that 15 soon, where I'll be a seller.
Yeah, huge move up. Also, GM really working out from $40 all the way to 46. I mean, what a month this has had. This has had what a month, what a couple 2 weeks. Up 20%, 15% in 2 weeks here for GM. Like this stock's not supposed to move like this, is it? Like that's a nice bottom there, like 27, 28 bucks. You sort of get that garbage out of here, but you couldn't have really been too confident in this name until at least you broke here 31, 32, and then it's been off to the races. I actually go the other way on this. I'm not going to get out. I own GM as well, but some of these have been like legacy plays, so I have to double check to see if they're even in or out of the money. I know Ford is, because we've been talking about buying Ford at 6, at 11 and stuff like that, but for GM, I almost want to play it until it kind of comes back into here and maybe breaks back below 40 again. Let your winners ride. I really like GM, and I think you could do the same thing for Ford. I mean, you're not in it just to get out of it, right? But again, it's scary because we've seen sort of these names kind of evaporate some of these losses. So I wonder about the position sizing. Time to double check it. Wouldn't blame anybody for lightening something up if you did get up here into $15 or $16. But let your winners go, man. I mean, it's the same kind of a move. Just in basically in 1 week, you're up now you're up 10% in 1 week. $12.50, right? You're adding only $1 to that. $1.30 to $12.50. So you're getting close, man. 7-8% in a week. I mean, I like Ford here and it's going higher. Don't sell your winners.
All right, let's get into everything else we need to know here heading towards the open on a Thursday morning if you haven't done so. Absolutely free resource for you. Watchlist.tradertv.live will get you there. You just enter your email address and then that shows up. We should update that graphic now that we have updated I just thought of that, the layout of the watch list. How's everyone like that? New look. Same content, new look. Let's go. Google, top of the list this morning. This came out after the close yesterday. Financial Times with this report suggesting Google may start, quote unquote, charging for AI search. If you scroll down on this note, however, it says right here, the people, quote unquote, familiar with the story noted that executives have not made a final decision on this, hence the fade of the initial pop to the upside after the close yesterday.
Yeah, this is a really interesting note as well. Google has also commented apparently to Reuters saying that they are not going to be getting rid of ads on their searches, but they didn't really address the core of the report, basically saying that if this actually is true, if this is what Google is working on, this would be the first time that Google's actually charged for part of its core search feature. So pretty big news there. Also, the report suggests that there could be some bundling with some of Google's other paid premium services, so with AI assistants for Gmail or Google Docs.
175 billion in search, specifically search-related revenue in 2023 was more than 50% of Google's revenue last year.
Well, I mean, I think that's the problem when we talk about what this move means, is that it's a change in what their business model currently is. And I just feel like that is going to obviously net affect where their ratings come from, where people value their business. And now, if you alter some of the search and it's 50% of your business, then yeah, you're going to have to go through some of these lumps. And yesterday when we heard that headline, it was kind of like, okay, that's great, because I'm like, okay, now they have an AI plan. And this is kind of what I wrote down here on the sticky note. And that was today, and it's just out right now, and I put some charts in. Go find this too. I made a little change today. I put some charts in the sticky note. But anyways, I just said patience on this one because I feel like 152 is a level that will hold. I like the fact that they have a plan now for the AI rollout. So I kind of like that. We also tweeted out this morning, again, from our watch list here, advanced AI search features, Gemini assistance for Gmail and Docs, paywall, trying to battle with the competition. And then there's something about a crypto story with them as well today. But I think that they can hold this 152. So that's what I'm going to wait for. Try to be patient. It was sort of this gapped up level right there. So let's just see. I think it's a good story. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised. And I also wrote down that in that event where Google just takes off the open, which, I mean, hello, it has some catch up to do. I think there's a world where we break 155, and that was yesterday's close. So if we can break that, then I'm going hella long in and around that 155 area, but I would much, much prefer dip buys. So I don't have any bids out yet on anything, but I am very, very biased to the long side today. I don't have any short ideas on there. We flipped over our Nvidia to a long. We'll talk about that when it comes through next. But I'm a buyer of Google, and I'm a buyer hopefully down into 152, 152.50. So those are the levels I wrote down for a dip buy, but I am getting ready to get locked and loaded to smash that 155 long.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really have much to add because like the first tweet I put out this morning was literally the same thing. It was a chart and Google and the news and 152 for a dip buy. It's just weird to me that it's this week into a strong market. I'm a little surprised by that. So you got to play it by ear. I think if the market even semi-reverses, you're probably going to get that fill. I'm not on the bid right now. And by the way, the only thing about, so Palantir is not on our list because of when this happened, but it just cracked 24. And when Palantir does this, there's usually a profit-taking moment at the open when it makes this kind of a pre-market move. And you've got to be a little bit just kind of ready for it because sometimes it gets, I don't know if there's one recently that I can point to, but either way, I just feel as if it's starting to get too far to chase. Obviously, I'm not going to be worried about 23.20 anymore. I can start to look at maybe 23.50s and 40s if it does make a pullback. But I'm going to be patient with this. I don't want to chase these tops on Palantir. Clearly, crazy runner though. 3.5 million volume of 5.5% now with that Oracle partnership.
I was just noting the market doesn't care about this, but there was a note from Wells Fargo. Basically reads, U.S. inflation slowdown expected to be, quote unquote, more of a grind. March U.S. CPI data is likely to indicate that underlying progress remains stubbornly slow. As that came out, market took out the highs, so market doesn't care. But let's talk about NVIDIA here. Speaking of highs, back to it, 1.6% right now. Nice bounce off that 900, or trying to hold back above 900 after dipping below it over the past couple of days here. New research, R&D essentially center going into Indonesia, big spend for them.
Yeah, and this has actually been confirmed by Indonesia's communications minister. So hearing from the source themselves, NVIDIA and one of the bigger telecommunications companies in the country working together to build this $200 million AI and data center in Indonesia in 2024. So pretty imminent story here coming again from the communications minister of the country.
A few days, 900 has really been the pivot if you zoom out on higher time frames. So we're trying to, as I mentioned, trying to hold back above 900 once again for NVIDIA.
Yeah, and I kind of alluded to this by saying I canceled, well, not really canceled because I actually didn't even have it in yet, but I was not going to take the 905 break at 8:55 in the morning with 35 minutes to the open and now 20 minutes to the open. Just not a trade that usually I would do. So here's your triple. It's not a traditional triple top, but you'll see what I'm getting at here. 905, 905, 900's been a good level as well. The one trade I had in NVIDIA was a 900 short yesterday to 895. And so 905 looks like a decent breakout setup. You have higher lows going into it. Notwithstanding the drop that it had in the afternoon, you've been stair-stepping up. If it does fail a 905 break, let's say right at the open you wick 905 and it comes back in, then that's the kind of thing when NVIDIA fails a breakout, and this is a semi-fail break when it was 915, you would have won on that trade. This is what I'm getting at. If it doesn't hold above that level during the opening hour, then it can pull back $20, $25, no problem. So I think that's one thing you got to be aware of. If it breaks 905, never gets past, say, 10 or 15, and then at 10 o'clock or at like 10:15, this stock is underneath 900, you could be looking at a day where it's at 880. But I am looking for the long through. It'll probably more along the lines of look for a long setup, either at the 05 at open or a consolidation breakout trade at even dollar levels. The 900 dip is going to be in play, obviously, at least for the next like 15, 20 minutes or so at the open, if this is the range that we're going to hold. And one thing in the chips that is not going to change too much for me is only look short Intel yesterday after their foundry disappointment, let's just call it that. I'm sure that's reasonable. They're up today and bouncing off of almost the $40 level, but I'm just looking for a short back into previous support. So you had some support down here in front of the 41 level, 40.80 into 41. The 41.40 short is what we were in pretty much all day. We were short from the beginning of the day to the end of the day in this one, and it's just been nasty, but it's been consistently weaker than the other chips, and that was certainly true yesterday when every other chip name was in the green, I believe, with the exception of Intel. So if it gets back to where we're shorting it yesterday, then I'll look to short again on Intel. But that's more to do with Intel specifically, not the chip sector itself.
Look, yesterday, man, props it up. We put some numbers on the board here yesterday, and this was because of Nvidia. Neil just talked about potentially a $25 move. I mean, this yesterday, top to bottom, we had that top, and we're not shorting that top today. We're going to flip it over, but these are the kind of potentials that we talked about there. Thank you, African Crypto. Very nice. But nice move to the downside right there off these shorts. So, like I said, man, we're here to play this game again today. You got to go back to the well. If you're feeling some names, right? Oh, this was last night, some chicken, and I carved it up. Got some nice fresh bread there. And then today, we flipped it completely on its head. We've talked about it right here. It's going to be Nvidia, and it's going to be a long. So any dip buys into 890-ish level there for Nvidia, go over, find out why on my @tradertv.live Twitter account. It's also on Instagram. But I just, yesterday we were nailing this level over and over and over and over again, as if we knew what we were doing. But today, let's see. I mean, we have these moves there yesterday. Every single time you stopped in and around this 890. You battled below there early. We came back in, we dip bought into that level, then took off and really just supported it all day. That requires a move down. So we'll trade it if that happens. I don't really want to trade it up here to the long side. I feel like it needs to break through a couple levels before I really get interested in this. Potentially a 910 there, break before we start to look at it. This high right there is 912, 913. Remember when we were shorting against 915? So I like it. I like the story. I don't think the story is that huge about Indonesia, but it's more just if the market wants to buy Nvidia, then there's no stopping it. We've got run over by AMD before. We've got run over by Nvidia. But this name has been really a top name for me over the last couple weeks. And I think we'll just continue to do what our gut tells us to do. And today it's a long. So I'm just going to try to play dip buys. And for right now, because it's safe and because we started to write this before the market took off, and we were at 898, I thought we could at that point have dropped down into 890 pretty easily. I still think we can, but it's going to take the market to sell off pretty good. And I'm not sure we do that because if you're looking at a 30-minute chart here, I know it's 9:15, we're going to get on in time here. But that 18.6 is what needs to break, in my opinion, before we really get revved up. So that's only 50 handles away. So we could get a bounce up into this level, and then we can really start to see what that action is up top. So that's what I'm waiting for, or dip buys into 18,450, and that's 100 the other way. So we're closer to breakout longs than we are to dip buy longs right now. So let's wait to see what happens, but Nvidia, I definitely love that trade, especially if we can get something in and around that 890.
We had that India story on Tesla the other day. Just reading a note here saying the company has started producing right-hand drive cars at its plant in Germany for export to India later in the year. Again, they're $2 billion going into India plant we talked about the other day. But Tesla up here nicely as well, 1.16, just tagged 170.5. Not really doing much on that note, but interesting for Tesla. Meta, on the other hand, 1, 2, 3. days in a row here to the upside, basically back to highs. There's a couple of analysts with positive things to say today.
Yeah, there's a staggeringly positive note here from Jefferies, increasing the price target from 550 to 585, which implies about a 15% upside from Meta's closing price yesterday, saying that they see Meta capturing 50% of incremental industry ad dollars in 2024. So it's pretty significant. It would also be an increase from the 33% that Meta captured in 2023. A lot of just basically positive notes with regards to ad revenue and some Reels related upside as well. So nice look here from Jefferies for META.
A bit of a pullback right now on the market after straight March higher since that jobless claims data at 8:30. Again, if you missed it, not really significant, kind of offset itself. I mean, import-export data as well to the upside for the most part, but the market just shrugging that off. Continuing, guys.
Yeah, it's not. It's maybe like a slowdown. Like the market's slowing down up top here. I think is the way to maybe call it. But Meta's been. It's like this consolidation higher thing happening here, where it's not really on the daily chart going parabolic, but it'll have this like $30, $40 range, and then it'll sort of glide a little bit higher, and then sort of do the same thing again. Then 480 is the top, and so 40 is the bottom, and then 520 top. So you got this triple top coming in today, and you've already busting through it. Like when I sat down this morning, you were gapped up, and Meta looked like a top break, and then all of a sudden, like a bunch of other things, like Palantir came into play, and Nvidia already got to 905, and pull up a chart of like Micron and some of the other chip names, and it's insane. But Meta's starting to, this has pulled back $1.30 while the market's still at the highs. So I don't wonder if you're going to get some kind of an opportunity at a dip buy in Meta. I had 510 written down. I still have 510 written down. But that was before the jobs numbers came out. And when the jobs numbers come out, like sometimes you have ideas for levels because it could go either way. Instead, we went up, and that doesn't seem as likely. So I'm going to play it a little bit by ear, because I don't necessarily want to be punching tops here when it's already made this move into the high. Like it almost, like up here, the breakout's almost like it's above 520. I'd love to be getting the dip back into this level at 510. So I'm going to stick to that plan on Meta instead of trying to chase these highs.
All right. Yeah, I was not even, I could talk about another name, but I don't really have Meta on my radar today. It's such a great stock. It's taking out these highs. I don't really want to buy stocks on upgrades or downgrades, really. Like I know that's like the reason why I'm looking at Google is because there's like a change, sort of a catalyst into that name, and obviously an upgrade and downgrade is a good catalyst, and this is starting to go. When they give reasons like ad spend change and percent, growing to 50%, like from 30 to, like there's big reasons here to buy Meta, and I really, really like it. It's just, let's not buy it up here, up 1.5, almost 2%. So I was going to say like 1.5 times the market here, almost double the market. I'd rather wait for a pullback in Meta, but would definitely not surprise me if we march right into this 520. And then the high is what, 523 or something? Let me see what it is. Exactly. Wow, okay. That was kind of a shot in the dark, but it's right there, 523.57, made right back here on the 7th or 8th of March. So yeah, taking out that today is definitely in question, I think. So if this market goes, Meta easily like, boom. We're already up $3 or $4 just right now. So I would say a march into like 520 is possible right off the open. And we probably don't break that 524 or anything like that, but it seems like it's trying to get back up there. So yeah, Meta's a long until we get into those low 520s, and then you can play off that 524 short. So I would say leave this one alone. If it really goes, then I'll short it into that 52-week high of 524.
We got this robot story on Apple late in the day yesterday. If you missed it, apparently engineers are looking at the idea, anyways, of a mobile, quote-unquote, mobile robot that can, quote-unquote, follow users around their homes. This is actually IRBT, and I bring that up just because it moved on this. maybe on the possibility of Apple being interested in iRobot, which is Roomba's parent. But hey, we're right back to basically where this thing has been trading over the past week or so. But huge move on IRBT yesterday. That's a zoomed in version of that move. Again, really nothing happening here today. But yeah, get ready for your iRobot.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting story. Apparently, the other robot Apple's working on, according to Bloomberg, is a tabletop device that has a robotic arm you can use to reposition a display. So a lot of really interesting potentials for these robots. We're talking about this off camera, about how these could really be used in a lot of different ways in the home space.
And this is the end result of, it sounds like anyways, this is the end result of them scrapping their car program. So a lot of those people have been reassigned apparently to the now iRobot attempt, guys.
It just makes sense to me. I mean, Apple makes fantastic devices. You know, in the type of device, it's like the thing that you have around you that you need all the time, that is user-friendly, makes a heck of a lot more sense for them to be doing this than a car. So I'll read it as good news, but it's really just up because, like right now, it's up because the market's up. It's up 0.6 into 0.9, and really the action when that news came out was, it was received negatively, fine. Some of that might have had to do with the implication that people thought they might be buying iRobot, so that's why it was going down. But suddenly you just have a double bottom on Apple, and really on the daily chart, Apple has come right back into the monster support that it had in October lows, and it is bouncing off it once again. I know it's still downward trending, but when you make lower highs, you actually make lower highs, right? So at some point, I got to think there's going to be a day where you want to be long. I wish I could tell you it was yesterday. I was not. The 170 level when I sat down made a lot of logical sense. Like I look back at all the levels I wrote down. And on Apple, I wrote down 170, which I think seems pretty obvious why that would be a support level. If there is a monster move to the upside, yeah, if Apple goes too far, I'm fading it. Because you saw that, it's like Tesla, you saw that trend on the daily chart, it's down. So if you get past 172 and you're into this 73 area, that's a little bit too far for me, and I'd be looking for the short. But I think the 170 level, if we're going to be calm about things at the open, that's where you want to look. But it's not even at the top of my list. I feel like Intel, Nvidia, Palantir, Boeing. I actually still think Boeing is a short back into 187 where it fell. Those are going to be in play for me, maybe more so than Apple. And Apple is the kind of stock that it'll usually give you levels in the middle of the day. You don't have to rush into it as well.
Wow, I even forgot about that Boeing trade yesterday. Yeah, we took 350 on that Boeing. My Apple, go to Trader TV Live, find it. The watch list is there, all the news there. Neil just went over the levels. I'm already bidding 170 on the sticky note. You can go find out all the information there. I'm not going to waste more time, but 169, give me as many shares as possible there at 169. All right, so we had this whole short. Literally the whole short. We were short when we were wrong. We were short, 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 and then yes, we were short. And we wound up covering down here the last piece of it into 184 and change. And we did pretty good because the different tranches that we got out there were all the way here. We got some out there once we broke the bottom. Then we held for 185. Remember, we couldn't believe how low this name was going. And then we're like, oh my God, what's going to happen here into the close? And then we wound up getting some out right at the close in and around that 185 again. I'm going to say it was somewhere right before this last little bump up before 350, but either way, 184, 185, giving us that $3 move. I like it. I didn't look at it. I'm surprised it's up today, so that's probably a really good look there as well. So yeah, I mean, we'll wait for these imbalances to pop out right now and see if they move anything. But yeah, I'm agreeing with all that. Apple was a short yesterday for me early, and we lost. Remember, it got going there. And then we took the L on that. It was the only losing stock we had yesterday. We talked about that. But then all of a sudden, it really got going. There's a sell imbalance on Apple. Okay, so we didn't get long down there yet. And I'm guessing that, let's just call it up so you guys can all see this live. Nikola with a big sell imbalance. Tilray with the buy imbalance. Palantir is probably... All right, well, it was breaking 24. It did break 24. Look at this pulling back. They're all Bs here today, but there's Apple with a slight little sell, sending this name, Apple, crumbling to the downside, 170.50, but give me some of that. Oh, McDonald's is doing a apple pie McFlurry. So shout out to that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that unless it's Thanksgiving or something. But there it comes in. Nice move for Apple down into 170. Get me that long, baby.
Yeah, that's a pass for me. Not the not the trade. I mean, if dip by Apple, the stock makes some sense. But like apple pie McFlurry, I don't get that. But I did miss a trade this morning. You thought
apple pie and ice cream. What do you mean? It's like pretty much an obvious combo.
No, I'm not. But
yeah.
No, it's. Don't get me wrong. Like I like apple pie a la mode, but as a McFlurry, I don't know if that'll be my jam. Like to me,
I don't know either.
To me, it's like a homemade apple pie that that's more my thing, not the box one that they have there. But Nikola, you saw in that imbalance. I completely forgot to pay for shorts and play the $1 level this morning on Nikola. Nikola had to look at Nikola's one, goes 90, fails $1 to $1.02, and already back down. Remember the last time it was here? There was up into the dollar level, and there was your fail. It just did exactly the same thing. So you want to, if you were paying attention to this stock, that just essentially gifted you already like a 5% move. We only had to risk a couple of cents there. So you're going to have this one on the radar. I'll pay for locates in the off chance that there's a secondary play here on Nikola. But that's why you look at the imbalance locator, because it can give you some hints on things moving.
Ramin's very excited about the apple pie McFlurry coming to McDonald's. It's not all positive today. Here's Square real quick. Morgan Stanley downgrading, or Block, I should say, to underweight, going to $60 here on Block. So big gap down here for SQ today.
Yeah, two main cruxes to this downgrade. One of them has to do with basically perceived lack of growth or lack of potential growth in Cash App. The other aspect is Morgan Stanley saying that Gen Z's spending potential has pretty much been maxed out by competitors. So really interesting note here with this downgrade.
Yeah, I didn't really look at it. I'm looking for longs today, but Apple is coming in. So we'll look at that Square in a minute. But Apple just touched down here. I'm at 170.10. Didn't fill, but I think you'll feel like it's going to, as some of these names are coming back in. Palantir pulled back up, but Apple with that sell imbalance is finding a low there, and then Google right here at 155 could come into play maybe before 153. But yeah, that name pulled back. Palantir pulled back up right now, so it did dip into that. I'm waiting at 2350 as we discussed, but for right now, Palantir trying to hold upside. The problem with a name like Palantir is that they always make these moves in the pre-market, and then they get faded out all the time because people don't believe in it, and they get to 5% and they bank it. And so I could see some banking of Palantir happening today. So if this does dip down, let's try to be patient with it. I could see myself losing a decent amount here because I do want to be long into 23, and I'm starting it at 23.50. So I didn't really look at Square. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I said I liked short back into previous support because one of my favorite setups is support turning into resistance, and when the market came up on the number, that I wouldn't sit on the offer. Like I'd still look for the opportunity, but not just stand in front of it when the numbers move the market the other way. So you're already seeing it break higher, which is fine. I can now look at maybe the $80 level. I just want to play a resistance level for fade. It could end up being 79, could be 80, but I'm going to play it by ear. And you have to be able to do that, especially when there's numbers at 8:30, because when you sit down and you're making your plan, whether it's overnight or in the morning, something happens in the market and you go from a flat market to an up market of 1%. And if you still have the exact same plan with regards to shorts in that market, then you can run yourself into some trouble, at least with the execution part. You can still like the idea. You just might have to trade it at a different price level, which is what I'll do with Square. It is Thursday. Adara is on the bell. We're going to get this party started. We got some Fed speakers. We got Palantir running. Nvidia is close to that 905 still. Could be that breakout trade. As we get to it in 5, 4, 3, 2, you know what to do.
You know what to do. I like that one. 3, 2, you know what to do. All right, U.S. markets are now open. So let's find out what's going on right now. We're going to watch out for Palantir. We do have that dip buy opportunity, looking for that. Google's starting to dance around a little bit. Apple, of course, says, yeah, thank you, Sean, but you're not getting long because you are not you were 5 cents too off on that. But here we go. This could come back in. A nice little move up to 170.80. We'll see if it can take down that 171. But for right now, Apple's bouncing around a little bit. And then the name that I feel like we might be able to get into is Google. But that's opened pretty flat again here. So far, kind of a nothing burger off the open. Some nice moves up. Now we're starting to come back in a little bit here. So this is when we could start to get some Google fills or one of those.
So I totally forgot about Dollarama. Opening print on Dollarama was a $1.50 winner if you took it like instantly. Toronto stocks don't trade in the pre-market, so sometimes if you like something too long and you're willing to take the opening print, like the reaction is just, it's gonna do what it wanted to do in the pre-market. So Nvidia is pulling right back into this 900 level. Apple's not at 700, but Boeing just tagged in here. So the first thing will be Boeing tagging up to that 187 level. So remember, this thing got up to 188.25 and then did a dipsy-do back down into 185. So if it can do that same move, that's what I will look for today. It's one of the few things I like short because it was really, really weak yesterday. The other one was Intel, and Intel, as the market pops, is still going down anyways. Like in a strong market, you can't even short the pops in this thing. Come on, man.
Yeah. All right. So we did have Google there. We're trying to get a little bit more. We're just flat on all these trades. We're long Google, we're long Apple, and we're not super patient right now. But we're just in basic positions, starter positions. So we have Google right here. We wanted this down to 152. It was 70. It did go 60 cents in the money as we get it at 76. So we'll have to watch out for that. It ripped all the way up here to 27s or 30s about. So we stared that in the face and just kind of laughed at it. So let's see if Google can get a little bit higher. That's what we're looking for Google. And then here's Apple. We just get that filled down there at 11s, but we did start it at 20s. So now we have an average price of 13. And let's see if that one wants to get back up to the upside. And then we have another position as well for all of you. It's Palantir. We said that we could get a dip buy opportunity for this name. And we did get that opportunity, so we did buy it. So that's what we're doing, man. We got 3 longs, but the market is trying to figure itself out.
Yeah.
But Google's trying to go to the downside right now. So there's a couple fills. It's still real super early, man. But the market is trying to hold up, but some of these tech names definitely trying to drop back in. Palantir looks like a good one. There's a nice little take up at 63. Let's see if we get going on PLTR, Google, and Apple all longs.
Yeah, Google hit that 52. It's trying to get to 52.5 right now. I'm going to take some at 52.5 because I want more at the even dollar level, and I stepped up a little bit too far. Apple's working as well, but got this next pop to the upside. I'm going to try and get the Intel short because that's the only chance to be able to grab it. Apple's up at like 30s, so I'll take a first out in front of 50s on Apple, but I still want a few things short. It's going to be like Intel, like I said. If the market goes up, I want to be able to grab that. Nvidia is still tracking toward that top break, so I'm going to get my stop order ready to go. I'm taking this top break. The order's going in for Nvidia. Let's go to Adara.
Nice look earlier here for this TCBP announcing that they are having this non-binding letter intending to acquire NK Platform Technologies. They do have a float of about 3 million shares, guys.
So much, man. This has been a money-making opportunity. We are already half of what we were yesterday. Apple already going to the upside. We are long at 170.10 right now, so we're taking some profits there. We are now 40 cents in the money on, Palantir, come on, big patty ice. I hope you're on this one, baby. That was a nice dip buy opportunity right into the levels that it was written on the sticky note there at 23.50. That's where we are long. And then, by the way, the one that's really singing for us, it's Google, baby. Nice little downside dip buys right into, again, those levels that we talked about. We're long at 152.50. It says 152.50 on here. So we're following our plan of action and doing exactly what we've done from day one. Buy names that we like with Catalyst, give you guys reasons why we're doing it. And then that's a 3-for-3 day to start. With Apple trying to get going there, we're out of half of our Apple already. Like I said, it's been obviously a monster day so far, and it's only 9:34. So patience does pay sometimes, but sometimes you want to get in there if levels fill, right? And that's something that we've talked about over and over again. So let's just start to empty out the clip here a little bit, as it's another banger day here to start. But let's not jinx this. Maybe we can hold on now. Maybe this party is just getting started. NASDAQ up 1%. Palantir trying to go, Apple, Google right now. There's the Dollar Club off of the sticky note. So make sure you go find that out immediately at Trader TV Sean. At Neil has the morning note, and we also have the watch list out as well. So all of them absolutely bagging. There it is, man. We're half of yesterday. It's 9:35.
NVIDIA's through that 905, by the way. It got already broke. I did get that quick in and out sometimes. Throw that stop order in there, and if you keystroke it, it goes out. But I'm just going to get right back into it, that 905. We got quarters on the way through. This is the kind of move. If it doesn't hold 6s, 7s, and make a move into 10, then it's technically a bit of a failed break on NVIDIA.
Wow.
So be careful for that one. Google's almost $1 in the money, but like to me, NVIDIA should be going $1 easy. Boeing is working for the short side of the trade, so that one's still staying in the pocket. We totally forgot about Tesla. Is that's absolutely tanking, not tanking, going in the other direction. 167 was like triple bottom support on Tesla. If there is a long, I would think it's got to be there. So NVIDIA is the only new position for me. I didn't pick up any Palantir. I had it a little bit closer to the even dollar level. And Intel still no fills. That stock, I'm on the offer, and it won't even get to the 70s. I'm going to move down, just a little bit. And try and get something in front of the 70 level and just give it to 75. So I'm just going to move the target a little bit on Intel. It's one of the few names. This and Boeing are the names that I want short.
All right, yeah. All right, guys, I mean, Palantir, we just got some out near $24. Like I said, Apple's really Apple. Well, you know what? Net, we'll talk about the nets of all of these, but Apple's is going to be the number one for me here today as it just continues to go higher and higher and higher. Wow, what a day again. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, everybody. What's up, Adara?
Another positive note here on Apple actually coming from UBS saying that their analysis of Apple's App Store shows about 12% year-over-year increase in revenue for March. So another nice note here for AAPL as we try to take out the high of day here, guys.
Which one, on Intel?
On NVIDIA. No, I'm not even in Intel. No, we're just sort of talking about it. Like, so NVIDIA does not hold a 905. You would have had a profit take at 906 for some, but I didn't get it as I got out of that first trade in and out flat. I had to pay spread, so I'm out of NVIDIA. If it does not hold 905, remember what I said. NVIDIA failing a break, and you could have a huge down move. So it has to work right away. Google's up at the 154. So when you get up to here, this is a resistance level. It pulls back. I'm trailing on this name at this price. So it can, on early morning moves, I'm always trailing it when it gets to that resistance and looking for the next trade. Just to check back in on Boeing. Like it popped into the 87. It's holding up. It's up 1%, but it's starting to work back into the downside. So that's the only thing outside of Intel that I want to the south side here is going to be Boeing. But I just got trailed on Google. I'll take the $1.25 on the early trade and then look for the dip buy on Alphabet down here. So I want that 152. If we pull back in, I'll respect it. If we get a higher low at, say, like a 53 or 52 half, I'll respect that as well.
Oh, guys. It's just exactly what we talked about, man. Neil talks about this all the time. It's, you know, when you're right, you want to let them run. When you're wrong, you want to get the hell out. So we just got, for some reason, just like what Neil mentioned there, we got a 153.70. Like Google came right up into its pre-market highs. I mean, pre-market highs, it was higher. But, you know, in the last hour or so, so there's a nice move to the upside. We just cashed a little bit out on that one, and we're starting to feel it pretty much, man. We are getting out of our Palantir. That hit up there. We cashed out of that one. Like, this is like no stress trading at all right now, man. I mean, this is just, honestly, it's come in, do the work, and be confident. I mean, we have 3 names on here. Google long, check, $1.30 in the money. Apple long, check, 85 cents in the money. Palantir long, check, 50 cents. Like, we're 3 for 3, all on the ideas that we wanted to take. So I mean, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put up numbers, you know, when this happens. So we're putting up numbers, and I hope you guys are just enjoying the ride because it's been a fun one over these last couple of days. I'm going to get another piece out on Apple all the way to 171. We could take another piece out right there. We just stopped around a little bit. The market is coming in a little bit here. Let me just punch out a little bit more of Apple there. We'll take a 79, and then if these names want to fade out now, fine. We have, just to let you know, because then I'll pass it back over, we have about 15% of Google, about 10% of Apple, and we still have about 25% of Palantir. So that's that, and maybe we'll just get out of Palantir, not have to worry about it. But here it comes. This is fading back out a little bit. PLTR on this move down. Let's just take a piece out at 58 if we can. Looks like this is going to be the loser here, Palantir.
So just
maybe.
So for the strategy that I like to always deploy, like 170, I'm just going to show you guys Apple, 170 into resistance, out into next resistance. It tried to break it out. It wicked it to 171. I trail out of the stock, and it's the same trade as Alphabet. Where you get the move, it goes into the resistance level, and then take it out. The only thing what's interesting is the market's pulling back, by the way, is Boeing just tagged back up to the 187. I want 185s, and that's probably being a little bit greedy. So I'm going to look for a play, another wick up into 187.5, and then back down to try to take a bit of a short trade. And I stepped my offer down on Intel and still haven't been picked up here. So I have yet to get into this stock to the south side. I'm going to try and get, like I said, I want a bit of a taste of this in front of the 75 level. So shorting it in the 60s isn't unreasonable. I'm going to start into it there. Just want to be very, very patient. I know I said I would stink bid Levi, but I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that because Levi is at $22. So
Booyah.
Bidding 20s is probably not going to fill this open. Let's go back to Adair at the desk.
Another news story here with regards to mega cap tech, this time Alphabet, GOOGL here on watch after Reuters reported that Alphabet is in talks with some of its advisors over a potential offer for HubSpot. So HUBS up also here about 6% on pretty weak volume, but keep an eye on HUBS and Google heading into the rest of the day here, guys.
And we'll tweet this all out afterwards, but I mean, Google, we just got another piece out right there. Yeah, there it is. There is the sticky note. And today, man, I was just talking about what was on here. We even put charts on here today as well for all of this, man. There's the Google long, there's the Apple long, there's the Palantir long, there's the Nvidia long, there's the Disney long. So we're only in 3 of these, and it's 3 for 3 right now on those ideas. And yeah, we're pretty much at the highs of all of these plays. I mean, Apple, like I said, this is one of the ones that we have the least amount of shares in because we just got out Google at the high of the day for $1.40 off of the exact posted level there. And you're going to break through 154 and see you later, alligator on that one. We did get that 58 print there. We're getting lighter and lighter on Palantir. And Apple might be the one that's the problem, but we're going to hold on to that so it does play some catch up. Let's go have a look at our other position that we also own. We own pretty much all the stocks, it seems like these days. Oracle, not moving too much. I wanted to check the heat on this one to see if there was anything going on with that Palantir deal, partnership for the cloud and for AI use and exploration, I guess, into the Oracle platforms. But we'll have to wait to see here what happens with that one. Still a nice move today, up just a little bit. The name that we never forget about, but that does.
Meta's starting to go again.
Meta's starting to go down now, or
no, up.
Yeah, we love Meta. I wanted to look at this in the. Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. I was sort of saying like that high is in jeopardy, and there's the short that we talked about at 523. You could have got $2 or $3, but again, standing in front of this does seem a little risky when we're hella long and cashing in. So we'll wait. But Meta's a decent short up there, I think, actually.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one, and it's like, I want to be, like, of all the names, I want to be short Meta. I'm going, like I said, the only things I wanted short at the open were going to be Intel and we're going to be BA. Oh, I should let you guys. Endeavor is, it's a buyout. Endeavor is being bought. That was news yesterday. So I'm going to be in and out of that stock. You'll probably see it from time to time just flash in and out. I'm favoring longs in front of 26. But if you don't have direct market access, it's not necessarily the sexiest trade for most people, but you are going to see it there. So I don't want to completely ignore it. It shouldn't follow what the market does. So back over to Alphabet. So we jammed out of it on this little bit of a pullback, but I still want to respect the chance to get some higher lows in here. Whether you can get 52s, I'm not sure, but maybe the 153 on a little bit of a dip. If it can hold that higher low, I like it. If it can break out this flat top at 154, I think I'm going to take that too, crossing up to 20s if it does. Boeing is starting to work its way back into the downside. This time I'll take some halfway at 186.5, see if we can't now press down into the 185 level. So it was a big flush yesterday, but let's respect the fact that Boeing's up to 1%. I didn't take profit after the first fill, but I'm going to the second time. Just the lay of the land, 85, this is like 87, and then where the news came out was at 88. So those are your key price levels on Boeing. Dell's parabolic again. Oh, wow, Dell. Dell is like, yeah, Dell's on one. Something new might be happening because that's I know the market's up, but wow, Dell. Okay. Okay, Dell.
Dell's a
It
big,
did this yesterday, but not this fast.
Yeah. Dell's a big AI name, so let's see how far that can go through. Again, you know what's being hit down here, which I think would be a good opportunity to get long if you're not long Salesforce already, is Salesforce. If Google's going to step in and look at HubSpot, which is a direct competitor to CRM, very, very similar, that's getting hit down. So watch out for this. A little bit of a buy opportunity right there for HubSpot and CRM. So that's why that's fading down just a little bit. Bob Iger's talking right now, and we already had that story, but here comes the move down for Disney back into 118 and change. I'm still watching everything. We did get out of some Palantir there again at 50. We now hold that 10% of Palantir. We don't want to, you know what? Forget it. It's fading out. We'll just get out. We got out there at 40. Palantir, a very, very positive stock for us today. We will ring that register on PLTR. Spin this one for you because the kind of day, like I mentioned, we're having is a decent one right now. And I hope that you guys have taken some of these trades or at least having some good ideas of your own. And let me know if there is anything you guys want to look at there in the chat. Alibaba was a dip buy at 72 bucks. We talked about that the last couple of days, and man, it hit yesterday, but that was the only day. And now we're up and away here on this name. So we'll have to watch out for some movement on Alibaba
Holy
again.
Tesla.
But SoFi was yesterday. I'm just trying to figure like some second day plays here that potentially we don't want to ignore. But
Oh, I'm back in Apple. I guess that's
SoFi
VWAP.
760. Yeah,
Apple, just a quick
up.
update
Yeah.
here. Apple, after the 70, it's now holding the higher low. This is kind of what I thought we would get in Google as well, but not really seeing that come in. So higher low there in Apple off the 170.5. Going to look for a play right back into the highs and then hold through a breakout. It's a little different here. This time we'll hold through a breakout. Just going to check back in on Alphabet. Yeah, so Alphabet no dip into 153 to be able to pick that up. But the market's starting to turn. I only have two names that I like short. I'm probably like you. Meta's at that 523, but yeah, you're in that position sometimes. You talk yourself out of a resistance level. Like it's one thing to short Intel and Boeing. It's another thing to want to short Meta into a strong market. Dell, like I said, bit of a power move. Not the only thing that had a power move yesterday. The weed names were very much in play. I know we ignored them today. It looked like they were breaking down. Look at the reversal. CGC broke underneath $10 and is now trying to break back out. If it does this liquidity grab and holds a breakout of 1070, I'd watch for the weed names as a bit of a secondary play. But reload was only just on Apple. That's the only new position for me. As like I said, Endeavor, I'll be in and out of that all day.
All right, I know you were just talking about Meta. I did take the short there. We'll print 50 cents. So there it is right there. We'll put a 50-cent trade on the board and hold it. So we're short Meta right now at 522.50s. So that's 45. So we just took some out there. We took a third out only. Let's wait to see if it does want to come back in here. We talked about shorting this, so we're gonna do it. Good trade, 50 cents. I mean, a pullback into view up is 520 flat. I mean, yeah, if that happens, but we're going to wait out. Okay, here we go. I mean, maybe we get that, right? 520. Let's just put a bid down there and see if we can get it. Here we go. There it is, man. There we go. We talked about that. This is from my guy on the floor, man. Fortune favors the bold, and there it is right there. So nice little trade for us on Meta. Let's just get out. There it is. We'll Hey man, there's $1.50 right there on Meta off. Yes, sir, $1.50. Let's put this on the board for unos $2 right now on the board. $1 in the money long Google, $2.50 on just a brand new trade for Meta. But it's not even that brand new. We talked about this in the pre-market when Meta was on the board. I said, if this can come up into the mid 520s, and I remember we even pulled this down. Look, I still have it up actually. So we've talked about this 523 and change. So we talked about that as being the high and that we wanted to fade off that. So we'll take that, man. Now we are out of, well, we still have one piece of Meta left, but good trade down to the downside. We'll get to Neil, but for right now, let's go over to Adara.
Some of these Bitcoin miners on watch this morning. I just have Mara up here as an example, up about 3.5%. A lot of these miners today releasing their Bitcoin-related holdings numbers, production numbers, and total cash holdings. So keep an eye on any of these miners today, guys.
And we didn't even get to Bitcoin, which was breaking 67 when we looked at the open. I don't know where it is right now. We're sitting in two shorts. Obviously, when the market pulls back, they're going to work. So we got that 70 fill on Intel eventually right back into the 50 range. So we get half a point move on Intel, and the stock was down 7% yesterday. If the market pulls back, this should go red. So want to make sure we're hanging on to a piece of it down into the 40-30 area. Boeing, about 70 cents in the money on Boeing on the short trade. I still think it's got some room to run the 185 level. Apple, as I said, it's not a reload, it's a new position in Apple for me, buying the higher low and working into the high of the day. If it breaks 171, I'm going to hold through 171. Alphabet is now starting a dip, but guess what didn't happen at VWAP? Apple bounced off of the level off of support, giving you an entry point. Google has not done so, so it's actually screaming right back into the lows. If that happens, then we wait for 152. So we took the long, got out of it. We'll wait patiently for the reload opportunity. It's not looking nearly as strong as it did a second ago. AMD, 180 already. Good look. 179 I have for support on advanced micro devices. But I'm going to put that one on the back burner. I like the two shorts that I'm in. Those are the ones I wanted to grab. So we'll hang on to those. Look for a couple of new ones in there, especially if we're going to get some, like if Dell continues to be, oh, never mind. I was about to say if Dell continues to press higher. Dell's right back where it started. That was fast.
All right, yeah, we got in and out of Google there because we are already, even though it's only 9:50, we are sort of in capital preservation mode right now. So there it is. We did take another long there at VWAP, but once that broke, man, we got out at 153. So we'll take the out there. The last, I mean, it's not a fail. We're up. We're up on a lot of names right now. And it's funny because my number 2 name in the whole thing is Meta. And we were just talking about that name up there, and we took it. We actually, it's too bad that we didn't take a little bit more, but still, man, good trade there. And if it falls back in, good for that. We also took out another piece on Apple there. I'm just in the middle of putting out the sticky note and just talking about some of those early plays that we had all over here, and just trying to show that if you do stick to, you know, what you believe in, and then as we always say, as long as your biggest loser does not outnumber P&L wise, which has been my problem for a minute, your biggest winners. That's why we got out of that Google, because I've so many times like bought these dips because we like the long, we like the long. But once levels break, man, sometimes it's best just to get out, regroup, and think of like what the next moment is, right? And that's why when I was like, okay, I'm really short, I'm really long everywhere, let's see if we can find a trade here for Meta. And we knew that it was at 11. I got to credit Neil because he was like, oh my God, Meta's up there. And I was like, what? All the way to the upside there for Meta. So that's another one. So we'll do that now, $2 in the money. It's, you know what's
Baba's
great?
going higher.
Baba? Yeah, well, that's no surprise there.
Well, Yellen's visiting. The shout out to Oleg in the chat.
Yeah,
Chinese ADRs are going Yellen visiting China. Although it's pulling back right now. I was just had my eyeballs on that one. But what was I going to say? It was Dell. Like that move, and I'm going to get to the wheat stocks in a quick little second there. We're going to go to Adara as well. I like CGC. It's holding that breakout consolidation. If Dell can hold on to like the 130 level on the way back, it's probably worth a speculative buy. But I like the wheat names a bit better. Let's go to Adara.
Nice move. I prefer with massive volume for Nikola. 40 million shares traded on this one so far today. Announced that they did produce 43 hydrogen fuel cell electric trucks, and they wholesaled 40 of those in the first quarter. So market reacting positively to this news, guys.
I'm looking for some more opportunities here. I mean, Palantir is getting near that $23 mark that we did talk about liking for a minute. It's just the market. Actually, the market's fine. It's kind of bouncing off VWAP there. This could be a good little pull here for Palantir down at these levels. Let's try to buy some 21s. We'll just punch in a little bit there. And then we'll see about buying some sort of 23 and changes here. If we break below 23, I mean, do we really want to use that 23.80 as the stopping spot? I don't know. So we'll buy some 21s. We'll just scalp out a little piece there at 25, so why not? So we'll take a piece out there as we blast through 25, put some more on the board here. But if it goes back to the upside, it's going to be a problem because here comes Meta. We want to get more short on Meta, but it's going to break this. This is why we talked about, you know, getting in, getting out, and trying to do a little bit of a dance with this name. Oh, I thought it was at 523. Okay. Oh, it canceled when I got out. All right, so I just put another offer right here at 523 for this bump up. We should have just had that short, actually, but missed it. I thought we had the offer. So here it comes. Let's see where we get Meta. I'm at. Okay, there we go. We got it. Against 524, man. If this market rallies, I mean, it is rallying right now, Meta. So watch out for this. You guys know where the stop is, man. 50 cents away from here. to 523.50. We're out of Meta, guys, so watch out here. If it pulls back, great, but this name, as we've mentioned a couple times here today, very, very strong. So watch out for Meta trying to do some dances down here in around 5. There it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Take it again. There it is. Some more plays down. We just get some out at 523 there for 30 cents, and that's it. So now we'll just let this ride. I was a little nervous there, thinking that we could break 524. I still do think we do, but let's just get some out there for 25 cents. Like, honestly, I know that doesn't seem like that much, but hopefully we can pull back down. But it looks like here it goes. It's going to take that 524. Watch out.
Speaking of that, just ask what I'm risking to on that CGC, and I'll get to why I'm trading CGC over ACB. Taking the 60s, like that dip in the consolidation into the support level. Generally 15 to 25 cents based on where the levels are. So if this is a level at 40, then I want to make sure I'm not paying more than 60s for an entry point, if that makes sense to everybody. And then why CGC over ACB? Because this was a problem for me yesterday, picking the wrong one, because ACB today is weaker than CGC. So CGC is breaking and holding above the top, whereas ACB is not. So I'm going to take a shot at the long. When these were pulling back in, I'll do it in the one that looks a little bit stronger at the moment. So that's the reasoning. I know yesterday it was the exact opposite, and I didn't listen to that. This time I'm going to try to do so. Oh, is it already just come out? So I have a bid now at Intel at previous close. That's at 10. That's at 40.35. But CGC, as you saw ACB pull back, why did I get triggered out of that? That didn't break 40s. And sometimes it happens. I'll end up back in this at a better price, but it should not have come out unless I made a keystroke error on the stop, because the stop was to be here, not there. So I essentially just made a flat trade and then got back in lower. But when that happens, if you get into something accidentally, you should just get out. I have the personal opinion that if you get out of something accidentally and you have an opportunity to get back in within reason in the same pocket range, you want to be in the trade, just make it. So even if it loses, it's like, okay, so what? Like, just because I happen to get out there, I wanted the trade in there for long. And the market is really dipping. So now I am in and out. We'll lose about 5 cents instead of 15, but that's by pure fluke because I actually keystroked. I should have lost 15 to 20 cents. Boeing is now $1.50 in the money, and I'm on this bid down here, 185. I want to short pops again back into VWAP if we can get them. I really only like 2 shorts, so that's the only things that we put on. And the rest, the longs worked early, but it's actually been more of a short off these tops. Yeah, I wish we'd hunted for more things to the south side, but I didn't like too many other things. That said, Google's at 152 and bouncing.
Yeah, man, it's really nice when we're both putting some numbers on the board right here. Nice short right there with Boeing. And what about Meta? What about us, says Meta? What about me, says Zuckerberg? Down 150.
You got to up the body count on the shorts.
Neil, man, the body count on this side, man.
You always got to keep the body count as high as possible.
Hey, man.
You like that, Ramin?
Ramin loves that. Look at this, man. Yeah, she's loving that. And if you're loving trades, how could you not love what we're putting on for a show for you guys here today again? Meta, $1.80 in the money. Again, on the short, as that starts to print for us and spin that back and forth and around and around and around and around and around. So that was a good one there for Palantir. We're buying some dips in that. We'll see if that works out. But it's Meta that's getting put on the floor. I mean, let's see what happens. We've just taken some out. Now we're just like, okay, let's see what happens now with Meta. Cannot lose on this. We are playing with house money, as per usual, it seems like these days. Let's go see what's happening with Disney. Oh, man, that's too bad. We are bidding 118.25. That got down there to 35, so we should have had a little look at that one. If Palantir goes, then we're really laughing. And then Apple right now still that 70 cents in the money. So honestly, man, that's all that I have. I don't have too many
Google
exciting
52
things
hit again,
other than 5 for 5.
Google just hit 52s again.
Ooh, that's my level too. All right.
So yeah, Google just bounced off to 52. Came right back in. It's holding 153 in VWAP. So I just took some out at the 90 level, essentially just playing off the one level. But the problem here is that it's lower highs, right? So fail break of the top, and now you're getting lower highs. That could easily work into a flat bottom break. So be careful. In a situation like this, I don't necessarily love the third reload, because if you're getting lower highs into that, that's a flat bottom break setup, which is not exactly bullish. It's literally the opposite of that. What is Apple doing? Apple is back into the high there. So we'll hold on. we'll hold on to Apple through the high of the day break because the market's at the lows and Apple's at the highs. That's a good sign. So VWAP on Apple for re-entry looks like it made sense, and now we hold. Apple clearly stronger than Alphabet. I thought they'd both be strong, but look, for whatever reason, they don't seem to love that news on Google as much as I would have thought. You got to trade the action in front of you. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. If they like the Roomba more than they like Google making money off AI, then that's what the market's telling you.
I don't have any bids for Meta, but we're now $3 in the money on Meta. So that is really, really screaming, guys. Meta is like, honestly, it has really leveled up the net here for sure for your boy. Look at Palantir too. Nice move for Palantir. Apparently it doesn't meta because we got Adara over at the desk.
Lots of interesting upside here in the market so far today. Here is the SPY on the 15-minute candle continuing to push to the upside here. Lots of Fed speak, though, to keep an eye on today. We actually had Fed's Arker supposed to speak at 10, but has already started speaking, hearing some comments here. Fed's Arker saying that inflation is still too high, so potentially some hawkishness to keep an eye on after. Again, we had 5 Fed speakers yesterday, 6 today, so certainly going to be moving the market a bit, but generally a lot of this positive reaction here in the market after that initial jobless claims number. Pretty positive look here so far. A couple other names to mention. Levi's up, now falling back a bit, but still up about 17% after posting an earnings beat with strong guidance. We also have Block SQ to the downside after a downgrade from Morgan Stanley and a lower price target. And last but not least, Paramount on watch here, trying to curl up a little bit, but still down about 9%. Trading to the downside after news of a potential merger and some negative reports with regards to potential equity raises required for said merger to take place. So lots of names on watch here as we head into the rest of Thursday's session, guys.
All right.
Levi's starting to pull back. I don't know if there might be something there. But like I said, watch out for Alphabet here. It's right back into that 152. So it got to VWAP. It could not break VWAP. It could not break 153. If it can consolidate enough, the futures are pretty much holding some higher lows, at least the ES. Yeah, the NASDAQ's holding 18.5. It's not all bad there, but the real, Apple's clearly the better long at this point. So I think VWAP is going to make more sense. Boeing's still in pocket. Intel might be a decent reload. I just missed the bottom, but it might be a decent reload up here at that 40.75. Still looking pretty solid to that downside. I know we're kind of ignoring a few names, but you're going to focus on the things that you're in. Tesla's still holding green, but ever so barely. 168, bit of a double bottom. If the market rolls over, remember Tesla's been a short. I don't wonder if that's not a flat bottom break on Tesla. It could just be the other way for them.
So Meta went $4 in the money. Thank you to Adam DeLuz here. If you lose 520 on Meta, which we did, we went down to 519, where we bounced off the 50 period, so you got to watch out for that. I don't know what else I could say other than to compliment you. Well, that's a nice compliment, so I'll take it. Thank you, Adam, for that one. And then also thank you up here where we were mentioning, someone said thank you so much for, here it is right here, Viraj Raj, thanks for the Apple trade. I needed this one. So you know what, man? I mean, just keep checking out for the sticky note. They're just levels that I'm looking at. I mean, whether or not how you trade around them is how you trade around them. The missed opportunity for me, of course, we've talked about Nvidia possibly there. We've always looked at Nvidia 905, 906, but I was bullish on that today, and it just fell in. So we're getting close, man. We talked about an 890 dip buy there for Meta at some point as well. So that could be something coming through for that. So, all right, let's go, I guess, back over to the desk to Adara.
More news coming out here. We do have Alaska Airlines, ALK, saying that they were paid $160 million in Q1 by Boeing in compensation for the 737 MAX 9 grounding. So not a lot of volume on this, but keep an eye on ALK, up 4.5%, guys.
Oh, Micron ain't so strong today. The chips actually had a pretty decent day, but wow, it's looking the other way here. So I'm only short Intel, and I'm looking at what's happening over here in AMD. Sometimes you have to adjust to what the market is telling you, and if we do lose the bid, then AMD probably loses the bid. And I'm thinking it should be back into 181 at least. Previous close 180.77. So short the pop if we're going to play trend in the chip names and something other than Intel. because Intel was a much better short yesterday. It's winning, but it's not as good as it was yesterday. Yesterday was like the easiest thing in the world. Today, it's more of an AMD Micron flush. Nvidia couldn't hold that 905 high. We'll watch out for Google. I've already said I'm not taking Google a third time off of this level, so I'm going to be patient with that. I have 2 shorts. I am looking for a third one if the market loses 18.5. I'm thinking it should be AMD here.
All right, guys. I'm just, like, we're $1 with Apple. I don't really think it's at any reload levels or anything like that right now. The market's not doing anything. We're $3 in the money on Meta. We're flat on Google, but we've just taken, I mean, we didn't get filled down there, so we didn't even notice it was down there. To be honest with you, we're at 152 flat. I didn't realize it even got that close. So I think we want to buy Google if it gets back in again down to that level. I'm just kind of waiting if this market fades because we've already put damage on Meta, but it's just a matter of to the tune that, well, it's P&L 1 is Apple, but you know, to the tune that if this does break down here, then we could get an even further break. But I just don't know what this market has in store for itself today. So we're going to go over and look and just go over and see what the economic indicators look like here for today as far as Fed speak. So right how we have Fed's Harker at 10, so we're waiting for that. This is at Trader TV Sean plus our watch list at tradertv.live. And then at 12:15 we have Fed's Barkin, 12:45 Goolsby, and then so on and so forth. So yeah, not much happening, man, until noon as far as Fed speak is concerned. So I feel like we're good, man. $3 here on Meta. I really want to see that break. And then let's go back over and maybe look at a DraftKings. As by the way, guys, Palantir, we're putting that on the floor as well because, you know, add to our stock body count as here we go, man. Palantir, just another one. Today, I told you we'd be laying on the people on the floor. Apple today, positive, right? Google, hella positive. Meta, hella positive. Palantir, you know, so it's just, it is what it is. You gotta trade your plan and plan your trade. We had 46 written yesterday for DraftKings. So this is kind of interesting, up 3% today. Again, yesterday we were net negative on the market, and today we're positive. So despite being short Meta, which we said we would do at this level, DraftKings was an interesting short here at 46. So let's sort of keep this on our radar and see if it prints. So we're going to wait to see DraftKings, see what happens up here, let it fall back in. If we could test VWAP and then get back up, then we'll probably look at a break of this level. But right now, I'm not convinced one way or the other on DraftKings, but it is a hell of a move, up that 3% for DKNG. This is starting to get me a little nervous as we keep on bouncing off VWAP here. Yeah, Meta could be a problem if this market goes up, guys. But we're getting out so right now this is how we trade. We're $3 in the money, and my stop is 44 cents away from where we are right now. So hopefully we do get a dip by Palantir. We're getting some more out.
Yeah, I feel like right now, if you're in stuff in the money, there's not much to do. 18.5 holds, and your shorts maybe you want to trail them, but you got to be looking for reloads maybe on some long positions. And I'm leaning into, I know Apple's a better stock. There's no question about that. But if 18.5 holds, Google, let's see it bounce first. Like the last time on the open, I took it on the way down. The second time through, I let it bounce and then took the long. So I'm going to look for the same thing. And then I want to be able to play Apple back in as well. Like that's the one thing. I always say at 10 o'clock or after 10 o'clock, you should always assess like what's working, what's not. Like yesterday, why it was like from start to finish solid was because you get away from the things that are trending up. Like if you want to go long, try not to be long the things that are trending down if you can avoid it. So Apple is still trending up. So I like VWAP in here, and I'll reload that one if we hold. So I'm going to get the bids out in front of VWAP on Apple. We like those higher lows. A9's like AMD opinion. This looks like a short to me. It's at the support level at 179. Like I marked off support at 179 yesterday, didn't really trade off of it too much. So I'm thinking if it's bouncing here and you like the short, you know, wait till it gets up in here to 180.50. You know, be patient in terms of looking for your level. So if I get that, then I'm going to go ahead and try to take it on AMD. I do favor the short over there on AMD. Looks pretty good right now. Netflix, I see some people. Like I don't want to rush trades at this time of day. Netflix, yeah, I'm not seeing anything on Netflix. Almost a full dollar spread. Not the best day trading stock, $500,000 in volume. This is much better for like swings. but I don't mind. Like, the level looks good. Like above 35, that looks really, really good for a triple top breakout, but I want to see buyers above that price. Probably even better if it clears 40. I think it's better if it clears 40 on Netflix, let's be real. So I'm going to stay away from that one. Some people are saying you should be Tesla long. Generally favoring shorts in Tesla. That said, if it's going to hold a higher low and break it out, I generally want to play with the trend. It's not in my plan to trade Tesla today. We're going to stick to the plan. That's Apple, still like Google. Intel, I'm on the offer for reload. Oh, I'm not. Let's go right there. Get back on the offer for a reload. But look at this. It's still putting in higher lows. I'm going to give this one multiple shots for the short trade because it was so weak yesterday. But if it takes out this 80, then I wait for it to get up into the 41.25, 40.40 range. Going to have to be very, very patient with Intel. Boeing's right in the pocket. It's about $1.25 in the money. I don't see any reason to make a decision yet on Boeing in terms of adding to it on the short side. I know it's trending nicely down. I want the 85 out. But in terms of shorting VWAP or adding into it, I think it's a little bit too early to call that. We have the top for now, so we'll look for our target. If we get it, then we get it. Apparently, Coin's making some moves, so I want to get over to BTC if we can. At this point, I'll look at anything you guys want me to look at. I mean, IBIT, why is that still Boeing? IBIT is absolutely churning to the upside. So if you're long, congratulations on Bitcoin. No question about it. And I do feel like Coin was tracking towards a good, oh, it is at 260. Okay, Coinbase. You've got Bitcoin going. This failed my level at the open, so that would have been a short, but that now looks like a liquidity grab under. If Coinbase can get back up through 260, this actually piques my interest here. So let's see it break and hold at 260. If it consolidates in that range, I think that should be a long for Coinbase, as long as Bitcoin doesn't make a nasty turnaround here. But I do want to do diligence, because yesterday I did the same thing and went to CGC instead of ACB. So I'm going to at least look at Mara. Like, what is Mara doing in this moment? Do I like a setup better in Mara as opposed to Coinbase? Like, you can express trades anywhere else. Yeah, I think Coinbase looks a little bit stronger. So you want to make sure you do your diligence. Yesterday, if I'd simply flipped to ACB, I would have had a better long. So in this particular case, Coinbase does look better.
I mean, all right, let's put this earpiece back in. You guys see what just happened to Google? Oh man, look, it's always nice when you go and you get a nice little fruit salad and you come back and then you see this. Today's fruit salad brought to you again by Melon. I mean, we've got some, there's some honeydew or honey melon or some cantaloupe is up in here. That's tasty. Look at this. Dip by. We're really having a nice day again here today, but it's because, again, I feel like it's about picking the right names. Like, we've traded 5 names. We have 5 wins, and it's about leveling up the shares on ideas that you like. So for Google, the number 1 trade idea on here and explained was to buy these dips long and potentially take the break long at 155. Like, that's how much we like this. So thank you everybody for mentioning that this came back into 152. I didn't realize that, so instead of waiting at 152, we'll wait at the bottom again. And when it comes through, you put on shares, and then like I said, you feel pretty lucky when you come back. Your stop's already in. So we already had a break of 152 as our out. So when it comes back in and it gives you that 1-to-1, you just start to get out a little bit there. So that's what we're doing. We got a little bit more than that because we got some out at 90s there, like as if it ripped all the way up to there. And then you come back as well, and you see that this is really starting to work. And that is, of course, our trade here with Meta, which is now almost $4 in the money, trying to break again through 320 and looking to go lower right now. So all is pretty well over here. We had $1 long in Apple right now, and we have the bottom of the day for Apple, which is pretty good right there. And again, all we wrote down can't be much easier than this, 170.50. Lucky enough to get where we did, even lower than that at 170.11. So we're just sort of kicking the can down the road here, man. Holding on to the positions that we have, watching Google just spin the hell up again through 153 right now. Are you kidding me? What kind of a day these days are recently, man? I'm not even looking at weekdays, man. We talked about that yesterday. Maybe I'll go over and do that now because now it's 10:14. We're at the same net we were yesterday at the end of the day, and it was a trophy day. So we're pretty happy with this. Let's see what happens here again today. Hitting levels, putting damage, and just really having a lot of fun and hopefully creating reasons for you guys to hit, Fabian, creating reasons for them to hit the like and subscribe. And maybe there's something we would be able to put up there. There it is. Don't forget to like and to subscribe and join us every single day. And you want me to show the like count? Okay, I don't have the YouTube up, so I'll get that up in a minute.
Oh, wait a minute, that's not right. You have to refresh. This does it all the time. I actually have it up, but you have to refresh the string because it stalls the like count. And I don't know why that happens on YouTube. It's actually sitting at 862. Mine was stalled at 150. I just got out of, you'll see I'm now out of Google. I just got out at VWAP. There was a point made on the chat just now. On the daily chart, it looks like a troubling setup for the long. On the daily, yes, you have a wick top through 155 and a reversal candle through an all-time high. I don't necessarily question that. The only reason I'm getting out of the trade is it seems weaker than everything else. I wanted to do what Apple did. Like if it can put in hold higher lows and break out tops, then I'm gonna like the long better in Alphabet. So I've done it twice, but I'm gonna be out of it through VWAP here. I think Apple's a little bit stronger, but you've got to just sort of trade whichever style you like. And when I see something which is right now, it's still a little bit trend down. I don't necessarily love it. I want to see another sign that it's going to show strength. And speaking of showing strength, I mean, Coinbase has yet to hold above 260. So it was at 260 when we talked about it. It has not held 260. Not really seeing anything unless it holds up here and breaks out the top. So we'll have to step back from Coinbase, at least in the short term. I think there's going to be some opportunities there. Boeing's still going to hold in the pocket. I have no issues with that. I feel like that should be a short for its own reasons. The other afternoon short, which we have not talked about, or actually you did, but I didn't, was Disney. Disney's tracking back to that 120 where things fell apart late in the afternoon. So Disney all of a sudden looks much, much better than it did yesterday. So you've got a bit of a double bottom on Disney. Let's zoom it out a little bit further. There you go. So you have this bottom at 118 on Disney, which is held, and then you're tracking to break through support, now into resistance through the 120 level. So Disney is flipping things on the script. It's doing the opposite of Boeing right now. And again, I don't really care about the Peltz board battle, the result of which I'm not going to be able to explain whether it's good or bad for the stock. Right now, it looks like a flat top break if it takes out 120. That's all I'm concerned with.
Hey guys, I know Danny C, what's up? I know we did talk about Disney down there at 118, and unfortunately, I missed the bid. I mean, it's on here, Disney 118. We talked about why we liked it, but I missed it. I missed the bid down there, and that kind of sucks. So yeah. Okay, so this just keeps on holding, man. Honestly, the kind of day that it is, I'm feeling like just putting this out. I mean, Meta's been a good run for us, and I don't know. I'd hate to, it won't really affect the net today by any stretch of the imagination, whatever happens to this trade. I mean, it would affect it if it comes to the downside. That'd be nice. And we would give back, like I said, a little bit of this. We'll give back probably like 10% or so if it does run the top of our net on Meta. But that is completely fine. We just did where is it? Here it is right here. If you're wondering what's up with what we're doing here, so we're sponsored by our number one sponsor is Real Trading. And so the platform we use is P-Pro 8, and it is unique and only able to be traded through Real Trading. So this is a platform built by traders for traders. Not only do we trade over 400 million shares a day, with over $3 billion worth of trades at 50 plus markets, and 998 other traders than Neil and I, plus great training mode system, great everything. Get your opportunity to join today. Go to realtrading.com. Unfortunately, only available to everybody outside of the United States. So what a great opportunity that is. And I mean, and on that note, we always do talk about what's going on right around here. And I got to say a big shout out right now to the number 2 spot on The Office. A big shout out to the Yanni Rami right there behind us. This guy's putting up numbers and putting bodies on the floor as well. So shout out to Yannick in behind us there for putting it up. So there it is, man. Join us as often as you can every single day, and go check out Real Trading. Join a floor like we have behind us, and get on yourself onto that leaderboard. So Real Trading, go find that out, realtrading.com. And then you'll be able to trade all these names. But, you know, again, start small. That's what the training mode is for. That's what everybody behind us has done. And even if you've been here for however many years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you trade to whatever size you want. These markets are crazy, and that's the best part about Real Trading. You have the opportunity to trade your style and do what you want to. And at the end of the day, as the NBA and as, you know, sports work, ball don't lie, man. The best traders will make the most money. And if you want that opportunity, go visit Real Traders right now. I am bidding, besides that, we're bidding 520 flat. So if we can get a dip down in, we almost got it. It just broke 521. I'm just going to take that out. And again, you know, independent decisions. I'm going to take that out, see if we can put $3 on there, and just sort of chill out for a little bit, go for our walk, relax, watch Nvidia, Aurora Cannabis. These cannabis names, Neil, I know you have Google up, but Aurora is going to, once again, whoopsies, that's ACBA.
Dip and rip.
Yeah, they're going ripping again. Back up to the upside. So there goes ACB, man. I'm going to have to puff pass on these ones because I got to go check my account at the end of this, because I put some fun money away. You guys know this. We talked about that. We put a couple $100 in Fisker, and then the same in some of these weed names because of how low they were. I think it was CGC was the big one for me. We bought some of this at like $2. You guys remember us talking about that. So this is going to be like 500%. So I feel that this is worth going back into the account. And then good thing, I would be down 98%, and now I'm probably only down like 92%. So we'll go back over and adjust our CGC plan of action. But this is one hell of a day. Like I said, good day for around here. Congratulations to Sir Yannick behind us.
Are we going to a Darren? No?
Yep.
Nice move up here for the IWM. That looks like we're curling down a little bit here in the Russell 2000. Up about 1% though, so not at all a bad look here for the small cap ETF. A couple names to keep an eye on here. Allurion here, ALUR, up about 80+% after getting a positive analyst coverage here from Chardin Capital with a buy rating. Also announced that it's expanding its virtual care suite into the United States. So U.S. expansion, positive catalyst for ALUR. We also have here on watch TCBP. This is TC Biopharm announcing that they're release a non-binding letter of intent to acquire NK Platform Technologies. So nice look for those two as we head into the rest of the day, guys.
There we go. Speaking of acquisitions, as I said, that EDR, there was a question about it, like what's the upside in it. It is actually being bought for over $27, but it's not going there today. You know, essentially it's trading between 16 and 20. So it's just going back and forth inside a tight range. That's why it's not that interesting. Like, it's not going to parabolic move. It is going to trade in a tight range where I am favoring some longs, just getting in and out from time to time. And that's an advantage. At Real Trading, you're going to have the opportunity to trade multiple different styles, some which might not be as conducive to retail trading. We have limited numbers of executions, but I can take 100 trades on Endeavor today and try to make a couple cents on each one. ACB now through that 12 cents. I don't know why Sundial's not going. But apparently Sundial is the only one. Yesterday I joked around that even Sundial was up. Sundial's still red today. So it's looking like that's a bit of a dog. I'm going to finally get the bid on Intel. It looks like near the lows, but I'm going to push it up in front of the 40s because it bounced off 40 the first time. So I didn't get the reload on Intel, but it is back at the low of the day. This was one of two names that I wanted short. So as usual, Intel is going to be a flush because that's what it seems like it does every single day, at least since that Foundry story. That looks pretty nasty. What do I think about Mara? I didn't have an opinion on Mara either way. I'm not really going to be trading. I don't think I'm trading Mara today. If I traded one, I think it would be Coinbase, unless Mara gets out of this range. Like if Mara can break out through 230 or 2030, that would be a little bit more exciting for me. But after the way it rejected this level, it's hard to want to go long a stock like this. Look at this chart, and would you want to be caught long up here if there's no buyers above 2030? I'd rather see it try to go, and it just looks pretty nasty. Futures are through 18.5, so I feel like it's right to be holding on and taking some profits on those shorts. Google still at VWAP where I got out. Maybe it retracts back into 52 and we can make a third decision down there in Alphabet. And Apple's not even at VWAP on this market pullback. So we're through 18.5, which means I don't want to sit on the bid for a long because the market's not as strong, but I still think I'd be looking dip buy on Apple. And we've gone long 870, we went long off VWAP. I don't see a reason not to look for the long off VWAP a third time there on Apple. It's looking pretty nasty, so no need to be sitting on the bid. That's why we're in some shorts.
Yeah. What's up, Trey Only? What's up, Adam DeLuz? I mean, here's Meta. Unfortunately, we did get out of it. It's just $5, but we did get out of it. Nice move there. You had high hopes for MU, yeah. Okay, so today, man, Apple, long. Google, long. We just took another piece out on Google, by the way. 90 cents. Meta is, the only thing we wish we would have done is hold on to more of this. But if that's your biggest problem, is like, I wish I either had more shares or held on, that's good, because that means you're not getting taken out of your positions at least, and you are getting hit on the bid, which is nice. I'm glad I got hit on the bid. Let's call it like that is. So that's
take profit to win.
Yeah, exactly. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and then Palantir, man.
Actually, can I tell a quick story? There was a guy in my training group. I won't say his name. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But he'd be in position he'd get into a good position in the morning. He was really smart, great technical trader, and it would just start running for him in the money. And he'd get up and he'd take walks and all that kind of good stuff. You'd see him always around the coffee machine. You know, now you probably know what I'm talking about. But it's not like he had profit takers out. And he also wouldn't have stops out either.
Well, yeah.
And it would go all this way in the money, and then you're like 2 hours, 3 hours later, market starts coming back in. It's like the stock would go red. Like, what are you doing? I'm not going to say his name. And then he'd take a hit on this stock, which basically ran in the money for him the entirety of the morning, because he was used to swing trading. Like, he swung trade his own account and was good at that. So when he was day trading, all of a sudden the concept of taking profit, it's just not how he worked. And so these winning decisions wouldn't actually pay him out.
Right, yeah.
And ultimately, he never had any success as a day trader, which was a shame because he was the first guy in the group to have big positions in the money. Like, nobody did it faster than him. He just didn't take any profit ever. He didn't learn the second half of it. So, and again, it doesn't matter. Like, he's a really great, really, really smart guy. He probably had a lot of
98% of the traders that walk in these doors walk out.
And the thing about it is, it's not for a lack of being able to find winners with him. He was the first one in the group to be able to find winners, no questions asked. And he was really good at it. He just didn't really take profit, and he didn't limit losses either. He would let a trade go from, like, if he was long Apple at 170, he was at 171, he'd let it break 169 by the end of the day and have never taken any profit, then just lose overall. So again, like, you have to maybe trade your own style. No, I'm not going to say somebody's name. It ultimately doesn't matter. But
I actually don't remember who it is. You don't have to tell me who that is, but that was over 20 years ago, man. I mean, remember, I only hire smart traders. You know, we brought Neil on board here, and
I'll put it in the chat.
It doesn't even.
I'm surprised you don't remember.
It doesn't even. I'll get it in a second. All right, but you know what? It's all about longevity. You've seen a lot of traders come through and then gone from here. So that's what it's about. It is about developing a strategy that winds up working for you. And you know, we do talk about that, and we sort of do sometimes, you know, joke about various things. But that's the one thing that is the truth, is that, you know, you have to stay true to the strategies that you want to employ, and then work around them. They will lose. These trading strategies will lose. And like I said, man, despite me just being on the show here, I'm always talking to these guys behind and just having like quick little moments and just talking about like, hey man, you know, it's gonna take you 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And then at that point, if you haven't been able to figure it out at that point, you know, you got to start to think about either changing up the strategies, you know, altering what you're doing, thinking about what kind of market you're in, and then ultimately thinking about if this is for you, you know. And at that point, you gotta start leveling up, right, if you're going to be a trader. So that's what's really important. But okay, we are at days high right now all over this damn place. So for P&L wise, the market did pull back down in, which all that happened to that was it just gave us better opportunities to go long. So we took advantage of all of those dip buys, like I said. And again, like I said, I'll shout out the leaderboard because we've discussed that. But for me, we're higher than we were yesterday right now, and it's 10:30. So we're pretty happy with what we've been doing here. Things have been working out. So for me, just to go through my trading journey here, it would start to be like, now let's start to, you take it to one level, you got to go to the next, you got to go to the next, you got to go to the next. Like you make the NHL, you want to make an all-star team. Then you make the all-star team, then you want to make Team Canada. Then you make Team Canada, you want to be team captain. So you got to figure out kind of what levels you're at, whether or not you're at junior A, whatever level you're at, and maybe for hockey, hopefully this makes sense to some people out there, you can relate it to all sports. So it's always about trying to get to that next level, but it's also about sometimes figuring out what's for lunch, and we actually have that menu right now. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. Last night we did get rotisserie chicken. I cut that up. Go find it at Trader TV Sean. You can go find that out. But today's menu is, again, for me, it'd be okay because we don't have it, but it is another chicken dinner winner for those of you around here. We did have a great sausage opportunity a couple days ago that included crazy amounts of toppings, and today could be good, could be bad. We'll find out. I would like this a little more spicy than normal, so get ready, Adara, because today's is green curry coconut chicken, so I think that has a good possibility of being a little bit spicy. I would get that spicy with Chinese-style fried rice. So we're going to go from a little bit of a Thai green curry to Chinese-style fried rice over to Crypto with Adara.
A lot of these miners and other cryptocurrency-related stocks to keep an eye on. I did mention a lot of these miners reporting some of their numbers, but Coinbase up on a couple of positive catalysts here, obtaining registration as a restricted dealer in Canada. Brendan brought us this one earlier, and then also getting a price target increase from 200 to 276. So almost 30% there increase here on this price target, basically saying that they see continued upside after the spot Bitcoin ETF approval. So nice look up here for COIN. In terms of other crypto-related things to keep an eye on here, Bitcoin continuing to advance here up into mid 67s here, so 67.5 right now, up 1.33%. We have Ethereum also here, still holding on to that 33 level, up 0.5%. BNB up about 5% here. USDC pretty much flat on the day, Ripple up about 2.33%, and Cardano basically flat on the day here. And we are brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Sign up today for 50% off their premier news and research platform for retail traders with code TTV, capital letters. Use the link in the description to go to checkout.
I'm out of Boeing here, and we just had that whole rant about taking profits on winning trades. But then again, so I got out and I put this trail off. Obviously, you put an order out with intentions, right? So I put the trail out when the market was holding 18.5, and ultimately, if you look at the setup, it's like quadrunk down, holds this level of support, holds a higher low. So if it gets above the up, I'm thinking, okay, it could be a bit of a push back to the upside, even though the short's good up there. And at this point, I could easily jump back in the trade with the same stop level. And I'm actually talking myself as to whether I want to do so. I'm thinking I like the short still, but I banked the profit like $1, just to slightly above $1. But remember, at this time of day, it's exactly when I don't want to be rushing in at bad prices. If it were to break and hold above VWAP, then I have to remember to myself, I like the short up here. So I need to see confirmation of weakness underneath VWAP to jump back into this position. Doesn't mean I won't do it, but I need to see some things that are a little bit more specific. So I am out of Boeing, and it might end up looking bad. Quite frankly, that's going to happen to you from time to time. It obviously is not flushing the way that it did yesterday when it was giving out candy. Like the short yesterday was a 50-cent risk to make like $2-3 if you had it. But that was when news was hitting. That's going to be a little bit different today. And speaking of news, Disney is... So I said, hey, Disney looks pretty good. It could be a flat top break on Disney like 20 minutes ago.
Hopefully rip it.
It looks exactly the same as it did 20 minutes ago. So I'm still waiting for this to do something. But it looks good. Like you have double bottom in here. You have a really tight flat top at about 119.80. If you can take out that top, maybe you can run. But the market's been falling, so that's probably the reason you're not getting this push to break it out here in Disney. I'd say that's disappointing because that's a great-looking setup on Disney here. It's just a matter of taking out the high. And you have to be patient. Like I'm not going to sit in the trade that's not happening. I'm going to wait for the opportunity where it lies. Apple is pulling back I do still think VWAP's going to be a play for Apple, but we're going to be a little bit, it's into VWAP. The market's not holding 18.5. So rather than just anticipate and sit on the bid, when I bought VWAP the last time, it bounced, held, and then got in. So I will look for the same type of setup there. This is a 3-minute chart. So it was actually down here at VWAP and holding for a good 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. And then you could get that long and it bounced to the upside. So that's what I'm looking for in Apple. Don't have to take the reload if it doesn't hold.
All right, here, just working on some of this. It's only 10:30. You know what? Here. Google's $1 again in the money. Yeah, I saw that. There was a 4-on-4, 5-on-5 fight last night in the NHL. Rangers.
What?
Yeah, it was really
That's
crazy.
wild.
Yeah, Rangers, Devils. They always do that, actually.
I don't really watch a lot of non-Leafs hockey, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really like fighting too much in hockey, but I was at that Rempe Reeves fight in Toronto. It was amazing, and he was fighting last night again. Okay, so there goes Google again. Like, what a gift that was on that dip buy, honestly. We really like Google down here. I might just sit on hands, and so you guys want to do anything right now, we have 25 minutes to ask me whatever you want right now, because like we said, man, sometimes worth just chilling out until you do see something. I mean, we could talk about what I'm waiting for. I would like to see more dip buy opportunities in Palantir down there to 23. Why? Because we wrote down 23. And what's the low of the day? Like 23.10? What is this? 23.08, 23.09? So we absolutely nailed that one. Like to get more down there. Why not? So we're waiting for that one. Meta, unfortunately we dumped it, but that's going to be P&L number 2 here today. The first P&L name is going to be, actually it's Google. Now it's Google. So it's Google, Meta, Apple. So those have been good trades. And then, so we're going to wait for that one. You know what? Let's just double check on with Alibaba. We could check I have trade ideas scanned.
Neo's moving.
Oops, that's
now.
Baba. Neo?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. We haven't looked at that in a minute. But there's Alibaba. So, this could be something at 72.50 if you guys want to do that. Yeah, I'll look at Microsoft for you, Miguel. Let's look at Microsoft quickly. I haven't looked at this for a while, but like I said, we're on a pretty good streak here. So I'm trying to stick with some of the names that I really do like. Haven't looked at this in a minute. We know about the 420 level. That's come into play a couple times right now. But Microsoft, what's the market doing? Pulling back. So the market's under VWAP right now. So I want to start to look short, which is why, I'm talking about levels that are a little bit lower, which is why we take out some Google here. We're still underneath. Let's see if this one wants to ride up. I feel like Apple's been kind of fool's gold sometimes with some of these moves. If Apple breaks right here, we can get out 170.70. Let's just get out of that, and let's put an offer up here at 171. So if Apple gets back up to the upside, we'll take it out, whatever, on that one. You all right over there, Ramin? Is that Ramin? Go get her some water, Fabian. Come on, man. Okay. You let me know, Ramin. I'll go. I'll stop the show. All right, so if that breaks, we'll get out of that. Otherwise, we'll get something up here at 171 right there for Apple. And then that's about it. So, yeah, so far so good, man. It's 10:37. Those are some dip buy opportunities. We're going to see if we can get out of Apple right there. Palantir still 10 cents, but not doing much. Trying to sleep. I know you've been looking at Intel. I mean, I'm trying to find
Intel,
names.
It's in the range. Like basically it's 40.75 at the high and 40.40 at the bottom. And it's going back and forth. So if you're not shorting the 70s and getting out 50s to 40s, there's not much else to do. I was literally about to drink water as you were saying it. I heard Ramin coughing. I'm like, I should drink
Hydration Nation.
I should drink some water too. But one more trade. Nicola's back at that dollar doing the up and down dance. So I paid for locates yesterday. I paid for locates today on the chance that it would do something like this. So it's up 11%. But the last time it failed the dollar level, you can see what happened. And the lower high off of that was right here at the buck. It got to 102 and turned the other day. Today it's got to 103. So I'll look to short off of 103. If 103 breaks, hey, you know what? You get out. Right? Like just to the local high. The last couple times it's dropped into the high 80s and 90s. So you have some room for it to go. And if you can risk 2 or 3 cents, then, it's all about risk to reward. So like imagine it was a $10 stock. It's no different from, say, going short at, say $10 and giving it 20, 30 cents, right? In this case, you give it 2 or 3 cents, depending on your liking. So I paid for locates here at Real Trading. We pay like 1/8 of 1 cent per share on locates for Nikola. So it is very cheap for us to go short this name. I was wrong getting out of Boeing. So At the moment, I was wrong, I should say. That's the better way to frame it. At the moment, it was wrong because it ended up going back down, but then it put in another higher low and is breaking out. So I am not going to reload. I wanted to see it hold here and maybe put in lower highs. That hasn't happened, so I will wait patiently for the tops. I'll wait for tops to reshort Intel. I'll wait for tops to reshort Boeing. And Apple did bounce nicely off the up. I did get this. It held twice, so I got into the long again. I'll get some out on the way to the highs. Apple taking the stairs to the upside as we're going over to Sector Watch with Adara.
Yeah.
Green across the board here. Tech strong pretty much unanimously here in electronic technology with the exception of AMD. A lot of these chip names bringing this group to the upside. Google and CRM, the two weak spots here in technology services, but other than that, again, a really nice look. Finance sector, similarly bullish looking here. Producer manufacturing also very strong. Consumer durables, process industries, commercial services. Very few weak spots here across the board. Consumer non-durables a little bit more of a mixed picture, but Pepsi pretty strong here and some of these other consumer names looking nice. We do have also consumer services notably on watch. Paramount to the downside with regards to potential merger and merger conversations with Skydance. And also Disney, keep an eye on here. We had Bob Iger speaking to CNBC earlier. Now CNBC screen showing that Nelson Peltz is apparently moments away. So keep an eye on Disney with regards to these potential comments coming out here from Nelson Peltz and CNBC, guys.
Yeah. When we say be patient, like holy crap, I look back over at Coinbase, the Bitcoin's back up at 67.7. Like look at Coin, it still won't break 260. I want to, it would be nice if it would go and break this out so we can look at a long trade above here. But you know what, the market's coming down and it's not breaking out. You don't have to rush into it. I want it above 260. It was only there in the pre-market. It's actually been rejecting it. If I was looking shorts on Coinbase, I'd probably be sitting in a 59.50 short, but I'm not. It's up 3%. I see BTC's not looking too bad. I have a Bitcoin chart up here. Here we go. Like you're breaking out on BTC and tracking towards 68. But unless you get above 60, I just don't see the trade. We'll sit on our hands until that happens. And that's what you got to do sometimes. You got to be willing to be patient. Well, you should be patient and willing to take the trade after it sets up. If you're long at the bottom, great. Maybe you'd be considering taking profit. I don't want in the long until it's breaking out above the 260 level. So we'll stick to the reload in Apple. Keep scanning for names. Some people were mentioning NEO was running with the Chinese ADRs. I will point out $4.80 on NEO. It's about the 40 level in here, was support, it's turned into resistance. What do you think happened the second it got close to 480? It started going back into the downside. So NEO up 5%. I would favor buying dips if you could into 480 as opposed to trying to get the long at right in front of that resistance level. It is always tricky. So let's let Apple matriculate back into the upside, try to hold through a break of the high of the day. All we've been doing, like Apple is higher lows the whole way. Eventually it's just going to take out the top and go as long as the market doesn't fall all over itself.
Yeah, I just actually had the same opinion there. I canceled my Apple. I was going to wait. I was getting some out right here. I told you at the 50 period at 90s basically. And then I was like, you know what? Not a whole heck of a lot happening. Let's just wait around for it. If it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And we've already put that up. So I was debating reshorting Meta up there at 524, but I don't think we're going to. We always talk about NVIDIA because whenever there's nothing to trade, you can always find something to trade. And NVIDIA's been a really good name to trade, especially once it gives levels. So my work yesterday was done more in the afternoon once we found out that we really liked that 903, 904 level that we had identified yesterday as a short area. So today I'm actually fine with that level again. I mean, despite the market making moves kind of flat right now, but heading down, the trend is lower. So I'm now kind of flipping over here to think about shorting in and around these areas. So that's a temporary idea of mine. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye on this small cap penny stock actually moving around here. BURU, New Buru. At around 10:20, they had a news halt and then announced that they have a $3 million capital infusion from some strategic investors and also some new customer orders. So some positive capital related news for BURU, guys.
That's a New Buru. That's a bit of a mouthful. That one. Remember, I'm on the offer of Nikola. There is another name that I'm short, but we talked about AMD being weak. Yeah, AMD. Remember we said,
Oh, wow.
short into VWAP?
Oh, wow.
Well, about VWAP, that's not happening right now on AMD. It's looking like, oh my goodness, look at the daily chart. Okay, sometimes when in doubt, zoom out. Look at the daily chart and look at the 50-period moving average on the daily at 182 on AMD. That looks, this cannot hang on to the 50-period. Every time it tries to close above, it wicks back underneath. I know it's a consolidation as well. You could somehow frame that as positive, but given the trend is down, I want to note the fact that is a rejection. This move down is a rejection of the 50-period moving average on the daily. It makes me like the short back up top even more. It's a matter of whether I work it off of 180, which is ideal, or 179.5. So I'll split the difference and do both, right? So if I'm not sure whether we short the pop into 179.5 or 180, then I will short it into 179.5, and if that breaks, I'll get out, and then I'll short it again at 180. So we'll look for two separate trades to join the trend in AMD to the downside. It's just a matter of getting picked up. So Apple, still looking good. Nikola has not filled. Why am I not into Nikola yet? Offered like twice. Okay, yeah, it just didn't get filled on. That's all. Nikola did this up down at $1, and I got on the offer when it broke down underneath $1. I just didn't get filled. I'll stick around at 99.5 and see if we get picked up there.
I'm just running through. So here, so here's just like a little scan that we got. Hit up trade ideas, by the way. Just hit that QR code there, right on the right. Get your 20. Actually, it's 25%, I believe, right now. Or is that over? That might have been an Easter. We'll go find it. But anyways,
I think
you know what you could always do?
I thought it was a holiday thing.
Here's a little tip for everybody. Just put in Trader TV 25. You know, if it gives you 25%,
there's no downside.
No.
It can't hurt.
Anyways, guaranteed 20. Guaranteed 20%.
Yeah. Actually,
all right.
If you think about it, it's a no-brainer. Like, why
not
wouldn't you
just put 40?
And then if it doesn't work, you put 35. Then if it doesn't work, you put 30.
We do the best.
Because then if we accidentally leave it at too long at 25, then you get the better thing.
Yeah, the reason why is that we've told Trade Ideas that we want to have the best promotion on the board, period. So if you do find a better one, let us know.
Hold on a second. Darwin, no Darwin. Darwin's like Trader TV. I'll just put in Trader TV 100.
Yeah, you could do that.
I mean, you can. It's just that it's not going to be 100 off.
But we'll get you guys, like I said, we'll keep getting updated, but definitely grab that. It's a great platform. And the idea behind this talk was that I have a VWAP scanner here. So let me see. This is built by Michael Noss as per my request. So here we go. So there it is. It's a downside move into VWAP. So there it is. There's VWAP. Here's a downside move into VWAP for Amazon. So if we were looking for trades to, off of these levels, great. So I'm actually looking for maybe stocks that have been down, excuse me, that are coming up to VWAP right now. So this could be one, but it's right there. It's kind of in the middle. Not super exciting. Just going over some things that I'm looking at, right? Just for everybody there. That's what's happening right there. Another scan that's coming up, Amazon. Shopify could be a name that I like to look at. So let's look at Shopify quickly here. There's some news popping in my ear about Disney. We'll have a look at that as well. Okay, see, so this is a good call. So Shopify right in and around here, 716, 76.20. Disney's is now up almost $1 right now, starting to go.
20 though.
Just hold on. Bob Iger still, I think he's talking nice a little bit now about pelts, so we'll see what winds up happening. This is just coming in my ear. So what I have is the Benzinga news feed. So here it is right here. So as of 10:47, so this is what's in my ear. Nelson Peltz says he hopes Disney's Iger can keep his promises. If they do it, they won't hear from me again. And then apparently, I guess Bob Iger has acknowledged that some of the ideas for the turnaround and just for increased profitability is something that Disney's been looking at. So obviously, yeah, this is just, again, check your own news sources and all that, but it's a CNBC interview happening as we speak. Nelson Peltz is on as we speak. So there he is. You can see him over my corner there. So be very careful with all this, but it seems like it's positive talk. We wrote down here on this sticky note, and again, this is why we say these are areas of interest. Right? We're not always going to be able to nail the exact levels, although we did give some charts here today. But we just said, why not look at Disney right here at 118? Support potential after the board vote. Let's see if it can hold down here. We wrote it right there, Disney. We like the long today. There's no doubt about that. The only short we had on today was Meta. We went the whole week short. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, only shorts. Thursday, only longs, despite Meta, which I guess I shouldn't say only longs. We only have 5 positions, 4 of them long, 1 of them short. And this Disney was a long at 118. So I'll say that we nailed that, but we didn't nail the price. So it did come back down a little bit there for Disney. Should have maybe had 118.50. So again, it's kind of tricky now because, as you know, Neil, it's 10.50, and the market will
hold 18.5 currently.
Yeah, so that's what you're going to look at. You're going to look at like market moves now, because if this market just stays still for a minute, which it could do, then you're going to wait for like moves up to here for tops to maybe fade, and then potentially moves back in almost into the open here for longs. So there's going to be some good opportunities, but I feel like patience is going to be key here as we head to the midday.
Yeah, apparently 120 just can't break. The funny thing about that move on Disney, you just saw the wick on Sean's chart, is I have a stop order for 120 to break. And when you said there's news on Disney, I kind of anticipated, I'm like, oh, I'm about to get long. But it stalled at exactly $120 even. So there was no break at the even dollar level on Disney. Apple's starting to head back to the upside. So it just tagged 170, I mean, not 171, but 170.95. And is going to continue to break back to the high of the day. I feel like Apple, if a stock is giving you higher lows like this in the trend, you kind of want to just stay with it. So it holds the first support level, then it's just riding VWAP. So I don't think there's much of a, it seems to me like just hold, buy into VWAP, and then hold for it to make a new high, and then sort of rinse and repeat that. And the longer it wants to do it, the better. I was railing on, I didn't really rail on, I was like, it looked like I got out of Boeing and it was a bad exit because it was a wick top, but Boeing's trending higher. So I will wait back for the high of the day on Boeing. We want to be short back in off of these levels in Boeing. So it ends up being the right call. At the moment, it didn't look like it was a good trail out, but now it looks a little bit better. Doesn't really matter. You have to wait for these tops to get back in. Let's have a look, see what's going on in the world of the US dollar with Money Talks and Adara.
DXY making its 3rd red candle on the daily chart in a row here. We are continuing to reject off that 105.10 level on the day here for the DXY. We've got a slew of economic data this morning, so let's go over that quickly. Exports and imports both coming in higher than expected. Exports 263 billion versus 257.2 billion prior, so higher than the previous. Imports also higher than the previous number, just shy of 332 billion versus 324.6 billion prior. Jobless claims, here's the big one. Initial jobless claims 221,000 versus 213,000 estimated, so higher than the expected here. Continuing jobless claims lower, the revised number lower than the previous revised. So we had 1.791 million versus the prior number of 1.8 million revised. So bit of a move down here for the jobless claims. We have a slew of Fed speakers coming later today. Fed's Barkin, Goolsbee, and Mester all this afternoon. Same with Kashkari. Then we have in the evening Musalem and Kugler speaking. So keep an eye on those speeches tomorrow, though we have more economic data. We have the non-farm payrolls number going to be very important to keep an eye out for 8:30 tomorrow. Then at 3 p.m. we have consumer credit. So lots of stuff going on here that could be impacting the USD.
I'm asking myself if I should short Micron into VWAP instead of AMD because, to be honest, AMD just made a fresh low. So we keep missing the short in AMD. And I said, like, I'll split the difference and try to short it midway if it's not going to get to VWAP. Well, guess what? The next thing it does is just continue to tank lower. And when this is happening, basically all you can do is the second it starts to bounce, just immediately look for the consolidation and get into the short. Like this is your chance. 180 break and then hold underneath was your chance. Be aggressive at the 179. But I just looked on over at Micron, and look, Micron's been an absolute monster. Get that out of the way. But it just rejected 130. So when I see this, here's your support at 126. If it can't get back to the 128 level, which is where it closed, it closed at 128, essentially failed to break out 130. If it holds under 128, that sets up like a head and shoulders if you're into that sort of thing. And that also happens to be VWAP. So you got the previous close, you got the morning range top, and you got VWAP all at 128. So that's the kind of trade I like for the middle of the day. Like you short 128, you give it to 128 half, risk 50 cents, low of the day is at 126. Bingo, bango, bongo. It's a setup that we would have liked to have had on AMD, but we're going to have to take it on Micron.
What's up, Vin? I like those rocket chips. No, I was just saying, man, thanks to everybody, and we'll see you guys again at 2 o'clock. But we still have the midday show. So right after this, we got Adair. They're talking all about different times of day for trade. We got Adair and an Obi coming through in just a couple minutes to take you through the next couple hours. You can ask questions in the chat there. The stream will roll over. So by the way, you can follow us. We're on live TikTok, right? We're live TikTok? Yes, sir. I always have to make sure that we're not booted off, you know? Live on TikTok, live on Instagram, live on, oh, there they are, Twitch. That second guy over is Twitch, right? Is that what that is? Right, okay, good. There, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everything. But we don't have X on. Do we have X on there?
No, we're not on.
I thought we were streaming on
No, we
X.
did, and we stopped.
Oh, we did, and then we stopped. Okay. All right, and then, so go find us. Whatever your platform is, go over there and find out what good on that.
But remember, you don't have to go anywhere, though.
No. Stay here. But I mean, we actually have a mobile version as well, the portrait view. So you guys can go find that if you're traveling. Although, you know, some people like to put I don't know if are you allowed to put on, I guess you are, right? People put on movies when they're driving and stuff.
I mean, as long as
it's going to be hard to trade while you're driving, but
if you have the,
up to you.
Why am I struggling for the word? It's the holder. You can. You put your phone on holder.
Yes. But we don't want people like looking and then.
Yeah, I don't want you holding your phone. You can have it up.
That's why you should be buying, honestly, full self-drive. And we'll go to Tesla in a minute. Just look at this. We just had right there a bump up all the way back to VWAP for Palantir. So Palantir is going to be another top stock for us. Well, we're green on everything, but this is going to be actually. Okay, let me slow this down. This is my least green stock today, but still a good one as we'll end the day here 5 for 5. But I do want to say that I do have a piece out now, or the rest out at VWAP if it goes in, because again, Palantir has been wrong. And we said that whenever they get some deals, it always seems to get faded because it's just not trusted. And I have to learn that because I know that. So Tesla right there today is flying apparently. This has been a hell of a short for me for a very, very long time on this show, as many of you will know. And today failed the sniff test, all that kind of stuff. I didn't like it today. But that was wrong. I mean, right into yesterday's close, into the open. I wish we were looking for logs on Tesla. There's always catalysts. It always makes our watch list. I can't remember if it was on there today, to be honest with you. Let me just look here.
Don't think so.
Yeah, so Alphabet, Nvidia, Meta, Apple, Levi's, Block. No. So again, fell back in and then just got bought off that 168. And I can look at yesterday's sticky note because I have it right here. You can't see it, but it says Tesla short 168. So we nailed that yesterday. This is yesterday's sticky note written yesterday morning, guys, on Tesla, right? Here's 168 yesterday. So those were fine. But the problem is we left it alone and should have looked at that level today. So that's a good little level there. But now you're all the way to 171. If the market really comes back in, based on what I'm seeing here, Tesla back to this 200 period of 170. Wow. We'll take that. We can get Tesla along 170. I like it. That looks good, man. That's the 50 period. That's the 200 period. That's VWAP. Tesla back into here. As Neil was giving you some trade ideas for the afternoon, this is yet again just another one. I like this Tesla trade back to 170. And then I almost did this, but I'm going to call the wife, go for a little bit of a walk, see what's good. But Boeing just took out the high. Like, I was debating going long, breaking this out. Like, yesterday was honestly a face slapper. The way that one moved, Boeing yesterday, like, I did not expect. We were out of the money, then thank you. But they've come back and believed this name pretty hard today, all the way back, basically, to those levels. So you can either go short here, or I was debating looking at a break long, but it is now fading. So maybe that was a top level. So I was going to go the other way with it, but Boeing right now does hit those levels at 187.50. I was debating going long. Kind of glad we didn't there, but Boeing should be on everyone's radar as well.
I would have been, if not for a certain rule, I probably would have had the same short as before. But the rule would be if it's making higher lows, like if it's doing this, hold on a second. We got like 2 minutes to go, so I can kind of run through this. If it's making higher lows, and it's just a dirty chart, then I want to be sure if the resistance is up here, then the next spike up, I'm letting it break this top and doing the same thing. Like, it's not a science when it makes that move into the void, how you're going to be able to short it. So I'd like to, if you're going to short it, you're shorting it into this range, closer to 88s and 88 quarters than 87 and 87 halves. because it's trending to the upside. So if I think there's going to be a chance, that's what I want to do over there on Boeing. You can be patient. We only got a minute to go. Mike, oh yeah, I got filled on Micron. Well, I said I was going to short Micron back into 128. So I got 127.5 on Micron. Let us know what you guys are doing. Mark Hefner's like, is Lulu along at these levels? Sometimes I love to be like, I don't know. Like if it was, sometimes like, I think on Costco one time I was like, yeah, sure, it's along in the long term because you're going to hold it forever. But you're probably asking about what is Lulu doing right now. And if you haven't looked at a stock, okay, so I haven't looked at Lulu. I don't particularly know why it's down 2% today. But I do know it's been struggling. Again, if this is just a continuation of the trend or if there's actually something going on, that I'm not going to be able to speak to. I can pull it up on Benzing in a second. What I would tell you is if you zoom way out on Lulu, if you like a stock like Lululemon and you go all the way back and see something at like the 350 level like here, well, then if you don't like 150 or 350 as a support, then I don't think you like support levels. So why it's down a little bit further, it looks to me like it's about $15 down to a major support level on Lululemon. That's all I'll be able to tell you. I have no idea why it's down 2%, but it's trending, and that actually looks pretty interesting to me. I'm going to do some work on Lululemon. But for now, we got to send you guys, learn to trade the different segments of the day. You got Adobe. Bringing it to you, that's Adara and Obi. Locked and loaded.
We haven't looked at
good to
Adobe
go.
yet.
I know, we didn't look at that either. Ciao.
Yes, it is. It's Adobe. It's
what is
Adara.
up?
And this is Obi. And we are back with you on how to trade.